You're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
Puny. Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. Resist!
Good day, good day. It's
Hey.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. This feels great.
Wednesday today, Wednesday. We're a bit early.
Daytime show. Weekday. Daytime show.
What's going on
We
here?
spicing it up a little bit, guys?
I think we are. I think we are. Definitely. Nice to see you. To see you. Nice.
Nice to see you too, there, Roxanne. And
Oh, I like that. Yes, Roxanne, you know I'm so happy to have you on. Thank you. And Richie,
Big time.
how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just sorting out my other microphone so I can move my camera a little bit closer. Just bear with me.
Gutted I missed Sunday. It was an absolutely amazing show. Shout out to you guys for Sunday. Really gutted I missed it. But yeah, massive respect for Sunday. And I'm just pleased to be here today. It's the middle of the week, I believe. It's Wednesday today. There's a lot going on. And I felt I was well up for today because, as I said, I've got a lot of things to talk to you all about. We've had lots of conversations offline, which, do you know what? Has altered my perception on things, whatnot. And that's the moral of the story: communication. If you are wondering about things that are going on, do not shy away from bringing it up to your nearest and dearest and your friends, because talking it out is a very good way of broadening your, what's the word, consciousness. Rich, honestly, you said some things this morning that were utterly profound, like just with what we were talking about with the child trafficking and whatnot, and that's really the thread that I'm trying to give you all, is talk to your friends about things, even if you think they're going to get weirded out by some of the topics that you're going to talk. If you've seen things that don't make sense, if you're trying to put things together, you're not going to be able to do it if you isolate and put yourself in isolation. Don't isolate yourself. Talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember what it was I said this morning. But yeah, I mean, I have a habit of doing that, saying profound things just off the cuff, you know.
He does it. He just like all the time. So yeah, lovely to see you all. I'm really chuffed to be here. It's a weekday show. And how are you doing, Sarah? Tell me how you're doing, my darling girl.
I'm doing really good. I was actually gonna say that I'm feeling the same way. Like, there's just been some interesting information going on, and Richie and I have had some offline conversations as well that have kind of stirred up a lot. Like, I woke up actually really early this morning because my mind's just pinging, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk about this and let's talk about that. We need to address that. So this is good times, and I like what you were saying though about working together and coming together, because or just seeking others for help, because I think it's bigger than that. I think it's about us actually finding our tribes now, like we've talked about. I think I keep hearing that as far as like those that follow the astrology and energy concepts, they're really saying like, this is going to happen. You are going to be aligning with the people that you're meant to create.
This is real, people. With. This is real, right? This isn't some. I think for a lot of people, it's good fun, and it's a distraction, and but you know, I mean, it's just on the internet, isn't it? You know, it's just a bit. This is a bit of a laugh.
That's
isn't
it. A lot of people think the narrative is just on the internet, Rich. They do.
And it's not. It's real. This is real, man. And this whole tribes thing, and this whole, all of these truth communities coming together. I mean, maybe all the people that have gone out there and got themselves on YouTube, and they've gone out on the streets and they've become active in some way of trying to share this information with other people.
Look at the way they've now ramped it up, Rich. They've ramped it up with what you're saying. This is now the time where people are starting to find their tribes, are starting to come together. And as we know, there's a lot of strength in numbers. The video you just played at the beginning of the show, where it shows the ant saying, just one of these people stand up, and these people clock how much they've been mugged off. We're done in. They outnumber us 100 to 1.
Yeah? Oh, we outnumber them way more than 100 to 1.
Exactly.
The good news is that
we're seeing
awakening is obvious.
We outnumber them a million to 1. We actually outnumber them around 1 million to 1, something like that. Ridiculous. I just sent Callum an invite because I just saw him in the.
And in what you were saying, Rich, with that being said, with people, they know more people are coming together. They know more people are coming together. They're now, I know we'll talk about it at some point in the show, but they're now coming out with mainstream media disinformation correspondence.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I didn't get that ready. Hang on.
And all this rhetoric of the danger of conspiracy theories, and that's why I talked about.
We've got someone on the payroll now. They're on the payroll. They're on the payroll. The fourth branch is now officially embedded. They're disinformation experts. Disinformation. We're here to sort it out for you, so that you know right from wrong. And no more so than the British Brainwashing Corporation themselves, the BBC themselves, the British Brainwashing Corporation themselves.
None of our funding comes from the Queen herself at all. There's absolutely no relationship there.
Is it Mariana Spring?
Spring, that's right. Spring. Yeah, so she's going to be the new correspondent, and she's going to be basically alerting the nation that people such as ourselves and all of our counterparts that are there on the internet, all disinformation people.
Well, how strange is that? Right, on thingy, on the computer, I'm logged in to my Richie Rich Insta, and I've tried to swap the account, but it won't. So I can only be in here as Richie Rich, which is not the account that I found her under. I found her under my really Richie Rich account, really Richie Rich in it, which is the one that I use most of the time. And I found her on that, no problem. But can I find her with my other one? No, I can't find her on the computer.
Weird. She's already, this correspondent, she's already blocked a good friend of the show, Ash, when he asked for an interview, a debate. She blocked him straight away.
Listen,
so there's a lot of people getting blocked, asking her for, a debate. So these things are getting ramped up because I feel that they're panicking. They feel that they're going to have to douse some of the sheeples and put them back to sleep again and let them know everything's all right, nothing to see here, look over there kind of thing. So yeah, watch out for this.
Right, I've sent you Sarah, I've sent you the link to her thing on Insta. Do you want to bring it up? Don't follow her.
Don't follow her, whatever you do.
Right? No.
Do we need audio? Because
No, I don't need audio. Because I'm not going to follow her because I'm not interested in anything she has to say. But I would follow her, but we're already on the radar. And so, if she's blocking people, from our community, if she's using her, she's got a publicist or whatever, somebody that's going to be looking into everything. So they'll, it's just stay, keep our distance from Mariana. Oh, I didn't do 2 ends. That's why I couldn't find her. I did 1 end. So this is Mariana Spring. Just like to scroll down a little bit. She's obviously very lovely, very English-looking girl. If you click on that picture on the left, far left.
Oh, no. Not the right, the left.
No, far left. That's the one. Scroll down to the comments. Have a look at the comments there. Oh, look, she's deleted them, Rox.
No, wait.
That's why we take screenshots,
That's
brother.
why
That's
we
why we
take
take screenshots.
I'm
Come on.
Hold on, guys.
We've been at this for a minute. We've been around the block a couple of
This
times.
ain't our
Sent us
first
t-shirts.
rodeo,
yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yeah,
This
there's
ain't our
no.
first fucking
oh, wait, no,
rodeo.
look, guys.
One cannot delete everything, you know. One cannot delete everything. Yes, I can bear witness to the fact. Listen, shout out to Ash, yeah, all the relentless work that he does, brother. Massive love and respect to you as always, right? Ash civilly asked her for, you know, a conversion, you know, conversation. He was instantly blocked. And then he urged some other people to say, look, can you get her attention for me? Because I'm civilly asking, you know, if she genuinely thinks that what we're putting out there is disinformation, well, I challenge her to a debate. Let's go back and forth in public. Let's do this. And let us show you the source material that we've got to back up everything that we're putting out there. And with that being said, we all joined in. And, you know, here we have the supposed wannabe victors writing the history books right in front of us. Modern day book burning, that is. Not sure if that's freedom of speech for someone who claims to be a disinformation correspondent. Okay, when we're clearly and cordially asking for, you know, some back and forth, or, you know, maybe can we call it some civilized discord? Yeah, and it's, you know, nil point for everybody. Blocked, barred, removed, erased. So as we're showing you right now, this is a live narrative that's being played out in front of people. I'm your, you know, disinformation correspondent, but I will silence people who challenge what we're saying. What does that remind you of, Rich? It reminds me of Globetards, actually. Reminds me of people like Simon Dan. I'm getting like Simon Dan memories.
Simon Dan.
And you know, the utter denial of people that go on Nathan Oakley's show as well, when, you know, the proof's right there and they cannot, so it's just delete, alt delete, you know, control alt delete. So, you know, it's just, you know, I don't, you know, pay attention to a lot of, you know, what is said, half of what I see, but patterns I can't ignore. Go on, Noel. Big up, Noel. This is from the screenshots. These comments are no longer there because Mariana has deleted them. Thanks, Mariana.
Go on, Northeast.
I yield the floor.
You usually hide behind your mask. Perhaps you're no longer ashamed of what you're doing. When the truth comes out, mark my words, you will want to hide your face then. What an absolute tool you must be. You cannot possibly be this deeply asleep. Yes, she can. She's getting paid the king's shilling. So she absolutely can be this asleep. Yeah, there we go.
So watch out for that one. That's the first correspondent to come out of the mix. I'm sure the other fourth branch corporations will follow suit and do their own.
Well, I mean, they
Mariana's probably the first of many.
They did it in America. Then they obviously backpedaled that quickly, but that doesn't mean to say that it's not still there. I know there's one. Oh, yeah. There's I think it's a Twitter account that I follow. I think. But I think it is the US Disinformation Board, but I think it's a satirical one. I don't think it's the real one. So yeah, I mean, look, this is. If anybody wants to know what's going on right now, go back and watch yourself some propaganda films about the First and Second World War. And look at the propaganda that was slung around, all the shit that was chucked around, and look into all the conspiracies about what, you know, happened in the First and Second World War. That they don't call them conspiracy theories; they're called conspiracies because they're no longer theoretical; they actually happened. And the thing is about conspiracy theorists, we'll remind everybody else again that it is a term coined by the CIA to basically program people to dismiss whatever's being said, because it was a very, very clever little tool. But the fact is, just because something's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean it's not true. I mean, the flight, right? The aeroplane was a conspiracy theory until it fucking happened, until the Orville brothers or whoever it was that they say did it first.
You want to know
until
what
they
one
did
of
it
my you want to know what one of my favorite ones is that still is considered a conspiracy theory is Mr. Gary Webb, rest in peace. Thank you so much for your service. Ex-CIA agent wrote a book about how the CIA purposely put crack cocaine, implemented it into the Black community in LA.
And what about the
He was
syphilis?
killed.
What about the syphilis as
Well,
well?
so the humor here is, we can get into all that, or AIDS, because Will Smith has an interview out where he's saying that the AIDS was introduced to the Black community purposely to destroy them. But Gary Webb was told, we were told that he committed suicide, but he had 2 gunshots wounds to his head. So that's pretty,
because the first one didn't
amazing.
work. Well, the first one, I can see it. I can see it completely. The first one, basically, he was aiming slightly forward and it only took out part of his frontal lobe.
Yeah.
And he realized that. And so, I don't know.
No way that he, was completely, taken out. Because most times, just one gunshot wound to the head takes you, at least knocks you out, even if you survive it. But no, he was a miracle.
Do you remember Casino? Do you remember Casino when Joe Pesci goes into the room with the old woman she sat there eating her breakfast, and he walks in, just grabs her head. He's got a little 22, and he just puts it up to her head and just goes bang, 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 bang. Because all of the bullets will just in a 22, it won't make it out of the thing. All the bullets will just bounce around inside the head. So more than one bullet to make sure that she's dead. The 2 bullets to the head, it all depends what it was shot with, doesn't it? If it was 22, if it was a 22 caliber, he could have shot himself in the head and realized that it hadn't worked, and then shot himself again. If it was a 45,
they show the picture of him. There's a picture.
What was the caliber?
I think it was a 22, and the gunshot wounds are right next to each other, like right here.
Yeah,
in his head.
that is actually, if it was only a 22, that is theoretically possible.
Well, I don't know, Richie. I don't know. But let's talk about actually how often though that happens where you're still awake through the first shot, even if it didn't actually work. Most people don't stay awake. I would like to hear of double shot suicides. It's like, actually, I've never really analyzed this. I sort of just scoffed and was like, yeah, regardless, I still don't. I mean, you just Brock shared with us the Anne Heche information. It's funny because I've been reading the mainstream articles because they're wording it really funny. The confusion around Anne Heche's death, and I'm curious to see if they're addressing this footage that came out of her crawling out of her gurney
off the gurney when they're putting her in the thing, and they're holding her down.
You think they had like a robot on her car to like control it for her? Regardless, like, she's a sacrifice, right? So it's like it'd be pretty obvious that Gary Webb would be as well. And considering the scandal around what he was talking about and that he released a book, now they're saying that he's a fraud and he just made all that up. It's just so convenient how many of those stories exist. So convenient.
I mean,
speaking of go on.
No, go on. No, I was just making a comment. Like the world is the stage. Like, so.
I'm not trying to link it to it, but it's talking about stories and stuff, things that have been right under our nose and we wouldn't have known it. Things that we should be paying attention to that we're not paying attention to, and things that have got double meanings. Again, Rich, absolutely inspiring this morning. And I'm not trying to. Sorry, yeah. I'm not trying to like link it to that now, but I'm definitely very, very, very keen to. Sorry, my phone is just literally trying to drop down now. I'm very keen to hear about traditions that have recently stopped this year, and have stopped right under everyone's noses, and people have not really clocked. That things that have been traditionally the case for a few decades, that are now not the case right now. Again, comes into stories that we hear, information that goes around, people not connecting the dots together. So yeah, my bad if I've linked that too soon, but it was just in what you were saying there.
So, should I get it? Are you?
Go for it.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
Things like about the hot, about what we were talking about things being hot. Yeah.
I love the fact that I'm in this kind of Narnia woods right about now. I'm loving that.
Cool, isn't it? So,
welcome to the treehouse.
I love it. So comfy in here.
Do you guys just want to shout out the chat room just while I
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, please. You as well. Shout out to you as well, Shari Ives as well. To join now. Ems Madworld, lovely to see you all in the chat room as well. Loads of interactions in the chat room. Actually, really good at interactions. PJC Net. Yeah, Isabella Live, lovely to see you. Steve Bally as well. FE Nation, lovely to see you all. And Tree of Knowledge. Over to you, my darling girl.
Tree of Knowledge. That's Sonia.
And Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Sonia. How you doing?
And Callum. Hopefully you can join us. I know you're in in between.
Oh, of course, yeah. Oh, I sent it to Skype anyway, buddy.
I'm trying to read from my phone as well. It's a bit of a nightmare. I'm literally trying to focus, and there's quite a bit of sunshine out here, which is causing a bit of glare.
No worries, so I'll take it from here. But thank you,
apologies.
Rox. I appreciate. No, that was great. And so if I'm repeating some people, we're just sending out double the love. Steve Bally, thanks for being here. Stacy, be serious. I love that name. Leafy, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. Good.
Lee. Robin Hood's there as well. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. I did give you the thumbs. I wasn't actually thumbs up in the comment when I put it up. I was thumbs up in you. But what you were asking about the Alex Jones trial, that was basically, it was a show trial, 100% show trial. It was meant to humiliate Alex Jones and show everybody, don't try and talk out against false narratives or we will destroy you, basically. And that's what they're doing in the UK with Lawrence Fox. You know who you are, Lawrence. It's just to basically get people scared of speaking out, of going against the agenda. And let's take our minds back to the 1800s when there were all these mental asylums everywhere. All hundreds of mental asylums, and they had it seems everybody was mental. Everybody was bloody mental back then. It's funny because everybody seems a bit mental now, don't they? Society would say that I'm mental, and the Roxanne's mental, and Sarah's managing to wing it at the moment for being normal. She's managing to wing it, but she's mental. So it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna share this, right? We're gonna move on. I'm gonna share this.
We'll touch base with the chat again. Thank you, guys.
Right, this is Static in the Attic.
Somebody behind the scenes, high military command and all that are actually doing something about this. I hope beyond all hope that really is going on. And back in the day, I did follow the letter that comes before RNS. Figure that one out real quick. That guy, or at least all the people that talk about him anyway. And, it was just this ongoing string you along. I got to say, though, lately with some of the stuff that I've been seeing, it really does have me questioning if there's something going on behind the scenes. And this one, I would like to hear what you guys think about this down in the comments. And just so you know, guys, I'll read comments, for maybe the first 5-10 minutes after I release a video, and then I usually get out of there. And it's all because of my peace of mind. I don't need my day run by some trolls. So nothing personal to anybody. But I just heard something that it makes some sense, and it answered a question for me, because Congress is supposed to be in recess in August. And then you have NP and Sun going to Taiwan, and then all of a sudden the chipmaker stocks shot up by like 70%. Go figure on that one. And then they passed the Inflation Reduction Act in August when they're supposed to be in recess. Now, this all started because back in the late 1700s, of course, there was no air conditioning, so really hot, and they took the month of August off. And then what they call down in the bottom, their manufactured weather that started in the 20s. They're talking about indoor, not the outside. So anyway, air conditioning came along, and it was no longer an issue, but they said, well, hey, now we have to work year round. So in the 70s, they actually created a law saying that August recess is a thing. It's a law. And this being one of those years, where you do the ballot thing, it really seems like they'd want to be out campaigning, right? But they're not. I was confused about this a week or so ago because all this stuff's going on when they're supposed to be in recess. And on their official schedule, it just says state work period. And then they reconvene on September 6th. Well, I was listening to one of the shows that keeps up with this stuff, and it says, why is Congress still in session? They're supposed to be in recess in August. And I was like, exactly. And there's been a lot of chatter saying that August is traditionally a really hot month. And I'll get back to that in a second. But then they go on to say this. Article 1, Section 6, Clause 1, they shall in all cases, talking about Congress, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at session of their respective houses, Congress and representatives and Senate, and in going to and returning from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. So it states pretty clear that they can't be arrested while Congress is in session, and it sounds like they can't even be questioned or subpoenaed to a court while Congress is in session. Now, there's a lot of rumors out there about tribunals and whatnot, but this is actual fact right here, and I'll leave a link to this down in the description box. I'm covering up certain names here and redacting it just because it's an automatic, not good for me, but this is an official docket here with DJT being the plaintiff, and the number one name under defendant there is Miss Benghazi herself. And then it continues on with a lot of big names: Michael Sussman, Mark Elias, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, John Podesta. And then down there towards the bottom, you've got John Doe's 1 through 10, ABC Corporation 1 through 10, United States of America as a defendant, and all these big name people. And the nature of the suit is racketeering, corrupt organization, the RICO Act. And if you guys click on it and read through it, you can see that these summonses were put out back around April. And of course, authorized agent of the court has to summons them directly, and then you get confirmation. And many of the defendants have put in motions to dismiss the case and pretty much rejected for failure to state a claim. So I don't know. This is probably just hopium to the fullest extent, but these guys really seem like they were thrown off their game, and that they're speeding everything up, throwing as much money around as possible, trying to screw us over in every way possible as fast as they can. And one of the major networks did a documentary a while back, and they showed right on TV that out of all of the arms that are being shipped over to Eastern Europe, that only about 30% are actually making it to the front line. And then, when you really dig into it, the other side is saying that these guys are using weapons from like the 70s and 80s, like completely outdated stuff. Anyway, billions of dollars are being made off the black market with all that.
Hello, Cam. How you doing?
Very well. And
Good,
yourselves?
good. Really good. Really good. Do you know what was really resonating through my mind as that video was playing? All that was really going through my mind was, are we, like, prior to, like, whenever you want to start the timeline from, I think for me it's just a simple question. Are we witnessing the destruction of the old guard, or aren't we? Because I feel we are.
Yeah, what's the fall of Babylon to you guys? And Richie, you're muted. Richie, yeah.
Bollocks. I think we're watching. Yes, but I think it's way bigger than people realise. I don't think it's just.
So it's bigger than people as well. It's bigger than government. Governments are just it's hype mans for the corporation country they're representing.
We've created
whatever this old guard is, whatever the guard is that we've been born into, whatever this system is that we've been born into, I feel that we're witnessing the beginning of the destruction of it. The overlords of whatever you want to call it, pecking order, right? That you want to look at it at. Whoever's at the top of the current pecking order, guard-wise, I feel that's what we are witnessing the stages of destruction of. But then whatever the new guard is probably the lesser of two evils. Maybe they just don't want to get rid of as many people. I don't know. But I feel like the current old guard is under destruction.
I see it from two perspectives there too. So it's like the people who are awake are seeing that as, yes, the destruction of the old guard, and the new guard is a completely different thing to the people that are still asleep. And they see the destruction of the old guard, but a new guard put in that's not good for them still. But that transition is easy for them, But again, it's like you're getting kicked out of Babylon. Do you want to leave Babylon nice and peacefully, or do you want to get kicked out and feel the suffering of it? And they're the two sides, or perception.
I'd rather leave peacefully, thanks.
You might not have the opportunity to get kicked out. Do you want to burn with Babylon?
That's it.
Do you want to
that's a better
Babylon or get the fuck out? And Babylon is basically
Babylon's burning.
Any city. And because the cities are operating as corporations. The city is a corporation. I think these are the
We're still all using fiat currency, and this is what I don't get. People are like, don't go digital, make sure you use your cash. And I'm like, why are you touting for cash as well? Why are you touting for fiat currency? It's all obsolete. It's all going to be surplus to requirement.
I mean,
eventually. And those that are holding on to fiat currency like it's king, like it's going to save them or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
The sole savior is going to be precious metals, commodities. Commodities will be that's where the value is.
Backed on that. If you're going to do crypto, if there's going to be any kind of digital, and then future will be free energy digital, it'll be a different kind. I think. I don't know if it'll mimic the exact same.
I'm very skeptical about the digital one because see what is it? And I can't remember the Chinese guy's name. What is it? The guy that is apparently he's John Doe. He doesn't exist. He kind of exists, but he doesn't exist. He might not be a real person, but he is. He's a front designed guy for the people that want to be not. And I'm like, wait. So we know that the royals are reptilians, yeah? We know about all these deep state players. Cool. I don't have anything to say anymore. Like if we can't even tell you who the guy is that's running this digital currency, but we'll back it. I believe in it. I believe it's another belief system. I know.
So there's Israel Adams, Trump's cabinet 95% Jew, Biden's cabinet 90% Jew. The only thing I'll say in Trump's defense was he was a little bit stupid and naive with the people that he appointed around him. And if he was to get voted back in again, I think he'd be a little bit smarter about who he had around him. And appointing his family wasn't a good idea. But the whole point of it is it's not 95% or 90%, it's 100%. All of it, the whole governmental system. It all needs to be decentralized and reduced. And I like what Trump's saying about 2024. If they vote him in, he's going to literally cut 50,000 jobs or something in one instantly. Governmental positions gone, because that hints at some sort of decentralization. Basically that in America it's the Fed. In the UK, the UK is going to be such a bigger job than America, the UK and Europe, because it's all European. That's who's controlling America at the moment. That's who's behind the deep state. The deep state is old European money. That's the deep state, old European money.
This is the main reason why, there's been, the prophecy of a civil war here for quite a while again.
That's the press pushing for that though. It's only the press saying that, isn't it? MSN.
They've been pushing for that for like 3 years now, haven't they?
That's the only reason why I ridicule Trump and why I keep saying he's there to play a role. He's not there as a vigilante like we
he's there to rally the people, man. He's there to rally the people, right?
He's
rally
there to push the divide, in my opinion, which is going to cause civil war because that's the only way they're going to break up this country.
Right. So what's their playbook? Basically, this is a Freemasonic playbook, which is black and white, which is confrontational, polarization, left versus right. And so Trump is the perfect right. Biden's the perfect left. That's
Oh,
all
dimension
we're
grandpa.
watching is the
Dimension grandpa.
manifestation of the perfect polarity, isn't it?
But either way, it's still the same. It's still destruction.
It's all the it's all. I mean, it's all the same. But
I
the
mean,
thing is,
yeah.
this is all to create energy.
What flavor destruction do you want?
Yeah.
Chocolate flavored destruction.
And the only
sit here and
reason
we
people
It's
know
about
about
it.
this
That's
information
process.
frivolously, the only reason your average individual knows politics frivolously like this is because of the fourth estate, fourth branch pushing it, which is what they were designed to do in the
entertainment
first place.
factor.
The mainstream media. The mainstream media
yeah,
were designed to be the fourth branch of the government to push their agendas on the
what were we
people.
talking about? What were we
Now
talking
there's
about
the
the other
fifth
day,
one.
though? We were talking about the other day that the basically we've actually become the fifth branch because all we're what the truth.
This is what we
community
touched on. We're now seen as sympathizers to the opposition of the good narrative, and it's like,
But
no,
what
it's
we
the
do,
reflection of that.
even if we're speaking against something, we're still promoting the narrative. Even if we're speaking against it, we're still promoting it. So
The polar of it.
yeah, what we like, we really, as a community, we need to recognize this. That this is once everybody realizes this whole thing about.
But think about how your mind works, though. Think about how your mind works. You need both. You need that polarity to balance something off balance, and then you can see it again. Then you have that choice again.
Right.
So what's being given to people who are missing that side of the argument or that side of that polarity is that balance. So then they can activate their own mind and go, well, where do I sit here?
So we sit here and talk about loosh, right? We talk about energy vampires. We talk about, you know, they're sucking.
I'm still here.
Energy.
I've just got to pop off for a second behind the camera. Give me 1 second.
They're sucking our energy. I've said this before. I've put this sort of theory forward before, that the energy that is the free energy that can be created here in this earth realm, we create it. Us, all of us. We're the ones creating it. What they've done is they've hijacked that free energy system, they've changed our perception of it. They've turned it into this material thing where you have to give your blood, sweat, and tears, and most of all, your time and your energy and your emotion. What you're given in return is this little piece of paper that says that you can buy things, and they put values on everything, saying, yes, this is worth £2.
Looks like a sun, a gold
£1,000.
sticker.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but we are still the energy. So people really need to fucking realize, look, we're creating all this energy for them. All they need is this. This is all they need. They need this to be happening constantly, because I think
there's a little red herring there, though. It's the free energy part. Because if you think about it, what's actually going on here is the releasing. You're releasing that worry, that burden, that stress, that emotion that's attached to that. But what are you gaining? It feels like free energy, but you're gaining your energy back. You never lost it. It got tied up with bullshit. Right. And then when it's released, it's like, oh, I have more energy. It's like, where'd that free energy?
It's also exchange. There's an energy exchange that takes place with people. And so what would you exchange? Exchange and currency, and you know that they've just taken exactly what contracts. even though they've put it into this material form, we can but it's only our perception of that maintains it. That's the only thing that maintains that value of that, you know, thing, whatever it is. So if we could, as a community, change our perception of value and what wealth is, and you know, the fact that we're exchanging, if you're giving money to something, you're exchanging energy. That's currency is just energy. That's all it is. Money.
I think when you're talking before too about that, it's like what's part of the agenda. I mean, for those guys too, for them, it's assets, it's
Commodities.
it's physical assets,
Material commodities.
value. Yeah, which is where they see it, and then you see it on another sort of spectrum here.
Because that's the only thing that
something completely different. It's just value of people, or value of skills, value of sharing experiences. So that's the sort of the balance, the other side of what's going on here too.
Right.
Like very physical.
And this is where they're so imbalanced. They're so imbalanced that if you put on the scale, you've got ego and spirit. They're completely imbalanced with their.
And this is all left brain too. Yeah.
And as a result,
they're imbalanced to the left brain as well, like completely focused and physical, complete left brain.
I think this is the concept that that we're even potentially in an environment that pulls that causes that duality to separate even more, or to cause us to be more black and white than gray. We're normally, or maybe what's coming, whatever this vapor canopy is, that allows for that to be more symbiosis overall. Because they've
the
talked
pressure
about
increases. Pressure increases, electrical potential increases, which means our connectivity. You know, when that amplifies, then our abilities in terms of we are all connected. For electrically, we know that, that we are all connected. Electromagnetically, we're starting to understand that, the significance of that. But when you amplify all of that, you turn all that shit up, so it changes completely. There's no way you can't you have to just deal with it, right? But this is too much for the mind to handle, or too much for the body to handle. We get this over a period of time. That's what's happening now, because you can't just snap into something that will potentially turn you insane. I mean, that's not how the universe works. You get everything just as you need it, just as much as you can handle. You can handle every single instant. So, now we see the time period where body physical, mind physical needs to adjust to that. So that happens over a period of time. I think everyone's going through this now. And it's how because you can freak out at any level, but it is enough. It is at a level for anyone to handle, for each individual to handle.
So then, are you kind of saying then that, like, us as a collective awakening, which maybe is the part of the cycle, is like we create the vapor canopy with our own like vibe or revving up of the energy, so that when we're actually putting more molecules out in the air for that reason.
But I see both happening, because there's this split going on, and you see a percentage of. So if we're looking at a group simulation, a group of minds together simulating experience or affecting the experience, I don't think it's 100%. We're here with Gaia, I think, and potentially much more going on that has impact into this. It's not just us.
Right, Gaia.
I think it's just humans. I think's a bit,
Gaia's a real right. Gaia's been hijacked. The idea of Gaia, like the name Gaia, has been corporatized, and basically it's been completely hijacked. That whole Gaia website and everything, they're grifters. They're just grifters. The Gaia thing, the whole Gaia, that massive Gaia movement that came up, they're just fucking.
The word was hijacked. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's but that's
we can say, because I can easily say Earth, but a greater Earth that just doesn't have just us little darlings on it.
It's Mother Earth, man. Yeah, Mother Earth.
Like, if we're talking a mind, like a consciousness, we can't just say it's just us. It's part of this whole, where the further you sort of widen your view, the further you see, there's more input, and our little spectrum, just a tiny little sliver of it, but nonetheless, we have full control over our own spectrum and how that plays with the bigger spectrum. So on one level up, we have that group of us, and a lot of us, that split that's going on here. A lot of us are going to that, not us, but a lot of, you know, I don't even know the real percentages. I don't even think it's as high as what people think, you know, in terms of most of it's a con to convince us, you know, because even though you may be leaving a propaganda and noticing it as propaganda, there still is an effect that we're yet to understand, and we understand more and more. And you go, oh my God, you know, everything is a lie, you know, where these numbers are completely off what we're given. And if we're to go to a more spiritual understanding of this, well, what do you feel those numbers to be? Because that will actually give you a better understanding of what's going on than what's presented. And it's always presented through a screen too, all of it.
I mean, let's give an example of that, right? So I'll say the population of Earth, 7.8 billion.
No way.
No way. Maybe
No
it's 7.8 million, maybe. But
that feels more about right to me.
I mean,
and I've checked the numbers too, and it's nowhere near what they say.
Maybe it could be 3 billion or something, but
I don't even think it hits 1 billion on the actual numbers when I.
Unless it's 1.44 billion. Maybe it's 1.44 billion.
1.44 billion.
Yeah.
That makes it easier when you're trying to get us down to 500 million. Is that what it was?
Well, no, I mean that thing as well.
Well,
right?
it may be there already too. I don't know.
Right, and that thing I think was playing, that was all about the fictional world. That was all about the fictional world, which is humans are not what we think they are. None of us are human. None of us in this room, none of us listening, nobody listening. We're not human. Human is a corporate fiction. We're living men and women. We're not humans. Keep your fucking human. Go and stick it in a fucking crate.
Well, that's an identifier too. Like if you like
so
people
I'm not a
pulling
white
away
man.
from that identity.
I'm not a fucking white man. Black men do not exist in my reality because it's a corporate fiction. It's a legal definition, like you say. It's a definition, a legal definition for something.
Define
as soon as you go into it, it's like, all right, you can think whatever you want, but you can go and take that into a court of law and see what happens. Because that's the only place it fucking matters at the end of the day. Because that is the court of law that can take your property away. It's the court of law that can take your children away. It's the court of law that can take your fucking money away. So it's in the court of law that you need all of your power. You need to be fully empowered when you walk into that court of law. Because if you don't, they're going to fleece you. What's that horrible noise? There's a horrible noise coming from somewhere. It has stopped, and you are actually muted, Sarah. You're talking, but you're muted, and that horrible noise has stopped.
But I also did that. I did that to Rox too, and her, because I could hear it too, and it stopped.
Yeah.
At her end, it stopped. So I don't think it was coming from me, but I think we're good.
Wherever it is, it stopped.
No matter.
Awesome.
One love, India. How are you doing, babe? Good to see you. I was working my way through the comments there. It's hard to keep up with these comments. I'm really bad at it. But what I noticed, I was
massive love to the chat room.
Love that. I was watching Viva Fry the other day, and one of the comments that he put up, because Viva Fry gets obviously super chats and stuff all the time, and he was doing his Barnes frying Barnes law thing. They were talking about the raid, and one of the comments was saying, oh, you know, nice one, thank you for keeping up with the comments and putting all the comments up on the screen. And I just thought, do you know what, I should do that. I should
We've been better. We've been better.
But the trouble is, I'll tell you why it's difficult. It's because when I'm doing this, I can't actually concentrate 100% on what's being said. You know? It's like you're shifting because when I click, it doesn't always fucking put it up. So it's like, oh, it hasn't gone up. I'll click it again. It's just a pain in the ass.
You're doing fine, and it's a good conversation. So I don't think people mind too much. We just engage with some.
And there we go. We're at the end. Yes. Right. Sorry. Shout out to the chat room.
Love that. Massive love to the chat room. Massive love for that.
Good to see you guys all here.
So I will chime in at this stage if it's all right, and just remind everybody that there is a rally going on this weekend up in Carlisle. It's at 1 o'clock. There's a good few people attending this one, and I feel that the location of it in Carlisle is quite unique because it gives everybody across the north, east, and west a really good opportunity to within easily reached distance to get there. I know, it's perfect. Perfectly aligned, Rich. Perfectly aligned. So I'm on my phone. I do not have the pleasure of seeing that in enough detail to read it out. But if one of you wonderful people could do that for me, that'd be amazing.
It's Carlisle In Pursuit of Freedom Rally, Carlisle, Saturday, the 20th of August, at the Carlisle Cross. Speakers include Dr. Kevin Corbett again, Suzanne and Joe from UK Citizen, Carla Barnthorpe from Freedom Alliance, Eddie Elwood, and Jason from Awareness Foundation, and that's going to be at Carlisle Cross.
Yeah, I think this is really a good telltale sign that the Great Awakening is still kind of snowballing on. Someone whose name cropped up there, Eddie Elwood. He's got quite a big following himself, and he's going through his own journey himself. He was fined an incredible amount of money through the lockdown for keeping his gym open, despite what the regulations were stating at the time. He felt he was going to do what he saw fit for his business and incurred an incredible amount of fines and went toe to toe with them. So yeah, really interested to maybe get a word with Eddie on Saturday and see what the situation is now in retrospect, given that he's gone through all of that. And obviously the information is out there for you to know. So, I think it's quite well documented, Rich, what he's done over the last 18 months with regards to keeping his business open, despite what the government's been doing. As we all know, the government's not been everyone's friend. Neither's my phone today, so lovely. So yeah, he's one of the people, and as I said, he's kind of gone through that journey in front of his following. He's not shied away from it. He's not isolated himself within his family. He's been quite open and made content about doing it. So his fans and people that have followed him throughout his career have watched that and thus woken up with him. So again, it's snowballing. It's all, I think we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago about the precipice. Everyone reaches that precipice and you decide to do something or do nothing. So he's one of the individuals that's done something. So yeah, he's going to be there on Saturday as well. There's a few other people that I'm not going to mention. I think we'll just show them on the day. And if you can get to Carlisle, do. It'll be well worth your trip. You will meet other like-minded people. I'm going to be talking to people about the jibby jab. I'm going to be asking them why they didn't get it and what their reasons for that are. I'm going to be asking people a lot of questions. So, and if there's anything that you want me to ask people out there on the day, do so. Put them in the comments or the chat room, and we'll try and get those questions across. If there's questions that you want to ask Kevin Corbett, I will have a sit down with Kevin and a chat with Kevin. So if there's
Kevin's a friend of the show, had a great interview with him. Actually used him in we'll play it in a sec. Actually, I made some videos for the gang. And Em, if you're still listening, I sent you a link as well if you want to pop on, babe, because it gives me a good excuse to play a little video that I made.
Love that.
And what else was I going to say? Something else I was going to say. Yes. Quite frankly, Meta Grandpa codes right. This is something that's starting to happen in the UK. Drag Queen Story Hour. Furries wouldn't surprise me if that popped up in UK UK schools and what have you, and libraries and stuff. But different to this, aside from this, quite frankly, I've been watching, quite frankly, a lot recently after that thing he did about ponerology. And I remembered, oh yeah, damn, quite frankly, I really like him. He's got, I like what he talks about. His granddad, see, there is granddad or his dad. He calls him Skippy, but I think it's his dad. was dying from an ulcer, had something going on, had all these ulcers in his stomach, and was basically dying. And they said to him, you can have this surgery, but it's, you know, it's really the surgery is dangerous. And he'd already had all these failed things happen, like these treatments that were supposed to fix it, and they didn't. And he was getting worse and getting worse. Quite frankly, said he sat down with him because he didn't want the surgery, but he'd realized that he wasn't ready to die yet. And quite frankly said to him, dude, all the you've got to take that, you've got to take all that love and everything that you've got for his daughter Aurora, you know, for the family, for everyone, take all of that love and put it in his stomach and use that to heal himself. And something like a week or 2 weeks later, and he's 90% better. He's like made a miraculous recovery. He was like 50, or he looked and sounded like 50% better the next day, and he just kept getting better and better. So that I really liked that. He'd taken that concept of the love and using that love to heal, taking all that love and put that in his stomach where he's sick and where he needs to be healed. Doesn't have to know what he's doing, doesn't have to visualize anything other than that love healing him, and it seems to have done it. It seems to have done it, man. I think that's beautiful. You're muted, Rox.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. That is really beautiful.
Yes, anyone can do it. That's the whole point. Anybody
That's the whole point. I'm glad you touched on this.
And not just on themselves. Anyone can do it on anyone. Anybody can do it on anybody. You could take that love and put it on someone else, you know, but you have to feel it. It's like, it's obviously it's going to be easier for him because, you know, it's all real. So I mean, love, it's all about love, man. Unconditional.
And then knowing where to put it, and usually that's presented to you as well. So, you know,
yeah,
usually digestion or breathing, if it's life-threatening sort of stress they're going through or whatever. So there's somewhere to put it as well, a focal point, because it's balancing, like what's happening in that gut of his. You know, a black void, and you'll fill it with love, rebalancing it. Yeah,
I mean, it could have been stale energy, all kinds of stuff that
and the more people, the better. Yeah,
that's a sacral chakra. That's your sacral chakra. So what's going on in your sacral? You know, to have ulcers and to have all of that stuff going on, maybe there's an imbalance. He's got a real imbalance in his chakras, so the energy's gone stale in his stomach.
Yeah, it's having trouble digesting. So he's having trouble digesting the real world, the physical world.
Yeah, and that's absolutely understandable. You know, especially if
he's feeling as well. So he's having trouble understanding the feelings associated, like understanding the feeling and the real world.
And anxiety causes, oh man, anxiety. That was my worst issue.
They're life-threatening when it comes to gut, you know, gut problems. That's very close to, like, skin, gut problems. It's close to reality, you know, breathing, close to reality. And then we go from there into the body and stuff, and then it becomes various issues. But when it comes to that, that's our sort of core, very close to our core. So it's survival. So the stress is real in the physical world as well. So they're going through stresses that, like that, you know, physical threats to their house, their family environment, whatever it is, they're threatened, and so they have to act. So if they don't, then it's a physical problem, and that's that emotional part of that physical ailment. And then putting the fix together is really simple. Putting the balance back is really simple. Extremely beautiful as well. Just a very simple instruction anyone can take and place to anything, any ailment, any problem with anyone that they have an attachment to. And then you can multiply that with people and more love and more attachment, or stronger focus.
If that's true, Sherry, that's fucking awesome. I think that's fucking awesome. If that is true, that so his dad obviously was gay, and if this is the case, his dad was gay, was able to express himself, come out of the closet, and it's all cool with the ex-wife and everything. That's like, I think that's fucking beautiful, man. And hearing the story about him, it was moving,
Can I play?
And I've got absolutely nothing against homosexuality. Go on.
Just on this topic of self-healing, I've talked about the Living Matrix documentary a decent amount. Would you mind if I send you the link, tuning it to 25 minutes in and starting, and just, if you guys are okay with this, 5-minute little bit on this on a doctor who is a DO, and this is to do with the NLP, but this is just coinciding again with everything. So I have mentioned this before, but I think it's a good story, and I think since we have Roxanne's channel on today, this would be a good one to show.
25 minutes in.
Yeah, like exactly would be perfect. Can you actually specify?
Is it the one that you put in the private chat? Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Living Matrix, right?
Yeah.
The placebo effect is really another way of talking about the body's self-healing capacity. And anything that unleashes more of that is going to be a better system.
I was absolutely desperate to have children. It was one of the reasons why I'd gotten divorced. I wanted children and my husband didn't. So I moved to London thinking it would take me a maximum of 2 years to find myself a new partner and settle down, and I'd be out in the country having my 2.5 children and I'd be totally happy. That was my plan. I was very good at making plans. So there I was. I had my osteopathic practice. I was seeing clients and I was stressed, frustrated, depressed. And I had been having headaches for years, maybe 10 years. I'd been having these terrible headaches, which were getting worse and worse and worse. Sometimes they lasted as long as 5 days. I had a routine visit with my doctor, and the doctor found that my hormone level was very much out of balance and immediately suspected that I had a tumor. So I was sent for a brain scan, and they diagnosed a prolactinoma. It was a huge shock. Out of the blue, and I felt at first how unfair. I went off to the medical library and started to learn everything I could about this tumor. And when I discovered that it caused infertility, I thought, that is so ironic. Every cell in my body was saying, I want children, and I had somehow created a tumor that stopped me having children. There had to be some reason for this. There had to be, this was too much of a coincidence, I thought. And I got very curious. Because of my alternative medicine background, I decided to treat it alternatively rather than go for the orthodox drugs or surgery.
Ariel decided to utilize neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, to approach her tumor.
So then I got into doing NLP at a much deeper level. Got through the master practitioner level, came home, and was totally inspired as to what I could actually do. I started to really understand what NLP was all about.
NLP is a practical form of psychology, which starts from where you are now and looks at where you want to be and uncovers what's in the way.
If you have, like my 5-day headaches, and you'd like to be without a tumor in your end state, the journey to get from square one to the end square is, what we actually start exploring with NLP.
Ariel made some very interesting discoveries as she began working with NLP.
Now, remember, I was the person who thought every cell in her body wanted children. And what I discovered was that deep down, that going back to early childhood, I had such an abhorrence of what my family had been like, that the last thing in the world part of me wanted was to be a mother. And this really, really shocked me. I thought I wanted one thing, and in fact, an unconscious part of me was going in a completely different direction. And when I understood the reasons why it didn't want children and what it was based on, I was able to kind of let go of that and allow it to be the way it was, and at least to understand why I'd created a life that didn't go down that path. One day, I heard myself shouting inside my head. It was like this little voice saying, "I'm so sick of this. I just want to be rid of this whole nightmare. I want to be rid of this tumor." And I stopped in shock as I listened to this voice inside my head, and I went, wow, there's a lot of anger in there, a lot of frustration. That's a lot of self-attack. If I'm attacking my tumor with all those thoughts of wanting to get rid of it, that's murderous. That can't be healing. And I had never looked at healing in that way. And I realized then that every thought I'd had was actually about making it go away. Now, that's a conflict. That's a huge inner conflict. And I decided to look at that a little bit more closely. And I thought, well, what would be the opposite? It has to be acceptance. I thought to myself, well, what would it be like if I really accepted this tumor? And this was quite a few years later, but it was absolutely a turning point in my healing when I realized that my tumor had taken me down a journey I'd never planned. It had taught me things I had never intended to learn. I had changed my career. I had changed my whole outlook. I had learned lots of things about myself and others. I had insights I'd never had before. I'd met amazing people, wonderful people all over the world. I'd had the support of people all over the world. And I realized I liked myself a lot better. And so I thought, okay, I can see that this tumor hasn't been totally bad. What if it has a purpose or a reason for being here? Because obviously it's done a good job so far. So if it's got a purpose for being here and it's still here, maybe there's still a purpose. What would happen if I gave it permission to stay for the rest of my life? It was 6 months after I had that realization and I got to the point of accepting the presence of my tumor. I had my routine blood test and went to see my specialist, and to my surprise, my hormone levels were completely normal. And when my doctor saw them, he just went, wow, that's incredible. And, I thought it had been a mistake. I thought maybe the blood test reading was wrong or something. I said, well, so much time has passed and I'm older now. Maybe my hormones have changed. He said, no, can't be that. He said, this can only mean one thing. Your tumor has gone. And he said, this is a real credit to you. I don't know how you've done it. I don't know what you've been doing. But I have to tell you, I've seen you for 10 years and you're not the same person you were 10 years ago. You are completely different.
Yeah. So.
Wow. What do we say to that?
I think, let me get that link to that documentary.
I'm fucking muted again, ain't I? That made sense to me, right? It's this acceptance. She accepted and she let go of the need to get rid of. And with that, the tumor went, I've done my job. I can go now. And I think it all links into what I say about this. Like, it sounds kind of blasé. It doesn't sound like such a huge thing until you really realize how deeply it reaches into your life. This concept of letting go of things, letting go of the need to control things, letting go of everything, and just going.
I say this all the time, CJ.
Will be, man.
The placebos is like, okay, so my friend, she is so
Before I
awesome.
forget, Sarah, just real quick, Valley Parks, Kenny's doing all good. He's all great. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, I know. If I didn't say it now, I would have forgotten. So yeah, thanks for asking. Kenny's all good.
And Rox, if there's any chance that you can get into your channel on the laptop or whatever, can you go in and make me a mod, please? Because it's no good you're not having any mods on your channel. And I'm just been watching you're muted.
Oh, we can't hear you all of a sudden. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I've got a password for the Wi-Fi and it's not working.
We'll sort it out. I left a little message.
You can do it post stream. You can go into a stream, go into the chat and make moderators. So I suggest you go in and make a couple of moderators, because there's just a couple of there's you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Let me do that. Let me jump out and come back in. Let me just do it now.
Right.
Let me do it now. Right? 1 sec.
Thanks, Rox. Always on it. We had her like jumping in and out all morning, getting us pictures, and yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I think that it just reiterates, and that's why I talk about the placebo effect, because I was having a conversation with my friend, and she was saying, you know, what did as far because of the whole Dr. Yeadon coming out and saying that, you know, respiratory illnesses aren't even real, and you know, when I said that to her, I think it's a shock for any of us as we slowly have figured this out. It's been the same for me. But anyway, and she said, and so when she said that, I said, well, you know, they tell us viruses come from space, so pretty much space dust. We're still supposedly sorting out what space is because of quantum physics, because they tell us we can jump into parallel universes. So I don't really understand what space is in that context. So then, more or less saying that we could jump into like nowhere anyway. And then anyway, so coming back at it, what I said was, if you can't explain the placebo effect, then you can't explain what's coming from the space dust. And that's one of my best arguments.
And they use that willy-nilly, you know. They use that in every trial they do, don't they? You know, but without explanation.
Yeah.
Sounds like to me too that that woman in that clip, she just went with the flow, you know.
That's what I was going to get at.
Which flow? She chose the flow, but
yeah. And you remember how we talked about that sometimes? Our hands might direct us to a certain location, but sometimes, like you said, it's not where you think the injury is. It's most
of the time it's not where you think it is.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be cleared before you get to a bigger thing, because usually we just see the big thing and not the 5 other things before it.
Yeah, it's sort of like Richie with you getting a headache, and my first thought was, oh, it's your posture. It's actually everything to do with your shoulders and your neck, has nothing to do with, you know, anything with your head. And it's not necessarily the case. I think with Richie it's more complicated, but with some people it is that simple.
Well, it's contributing factors as well, because a lot of these things you put together, posture being one of those things that affects us all the time, 100% all the time. And it's knowing that too, it's the quickest way out of a certain, so just correcting your posture or whatever takes you out of a state that we slowly put ourselves into, and we don't realize we're in that state. But that, which is an NLP thing too, it's like an anchor and a trigger. You trigger it, you trigger that anchor to realign myself or whatever, pulling you back to a different state, a different vibration.
Yeah.
A higher vibration, you could say.
It's important to describe it that way, because especially as I'm doing it and I'm feeling all of that energy and those emotions releasing, I'm a lot more aware of that as I do things. So we are about an hour in. I'm going to make this more of a regular thing about an hour in. I want everybody to start doing a little bit of stretching.
No.
And Richie, if you want to play the silly video made for me, we can do that too after this. We can do it right away.
Afterwards, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've talked about this stretch where, you go behind your back and then you want to grab your arms together like this. You want to pull down and pull together. Take some good breaths. I just saw this comment. Callum for breakfast is better than Kellogg's. Yeah. Oh, that's why we told Callum we wanted to be a regular because we all need a daily dose of Callum. Oh, sorry. So one of the things I'm doing too is I do have a slanted ceiling right here, so I'm like grabbing the ceiling and using that. But this is really good, guys. Check your posture. Where's the Reverend? I haven't seen him. He's always he's my posture check. Callum. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Workout and coffee.
Yeah. All right.
On that note,
take a quick moment and you can enjoy this hilarious. I hope you guys enjoy my ridiculous face.
Quick one I do is I do the jumping up.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
And it just corrects everything.
Perfect. Yes. This is awesome.
Everybody
Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed. Okay.
Well,
Double Illuminati. Double upside down.
Red eye, same as me, mate.
Swing of the head, up and down. Listen as the piano plays the music. Exercise just for the head and throw head back. Up and down. Exercise just for the head. Flash right and left. Exercise just for the head and throw head back. Up and down. Exercise just for the head. Flash right.
I'm Battlecaster.
Yeah.
You can play.
Yeah, exactly.
State of the world, check the conditions of man's mentality. War is a sign of the times. State of the world, death to the family. Destroy the structure of morals and poison us all. Right before our eyes, there are men manufacturing men. Let the cloning begin. Question is lit. Before we multiply into a race of DNA, extract the matches that attack us out of human control. A nation that was born without a soul. Lost their mind. Measures in an era of apparent failure. Kids rebelling, raising hell because they raise themselves. It's evident we need the God to help. It's really justice. Issues with more than we can possibly imagine. It's war, religion, anarchy, abortion, even family divorce. Foreign policy, America, the home of the free. We've lost faith in all our unity.
Imagine that you're playing this computer game.
Yes.
That wasn't the one. Is that? Did you get rid of that other one? You had a different one that.
Give me this one.
What are you looking at? Honestly, your weird dead eyes. They are weird. Super weird. So.
You're well talked on paper. For some reason.
You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel.
Vote now.
People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Is that okay? Have a nice day. I've still got to do your two little shorter ones.
It's all good. I really like how you did Roxanne's. You should probably make one for Callum too. But we're gonna do more. I have a clipping audio bits because there's obviously been some really profound things said. So we'll make you one, Callum, and that way you can.
Yes, man.
Portfolio.
They take about a day to do, so I will do. I'll just yes, definitely, man. Rox, you missed the video.
What video?
Your little intro.
Oh, did I miss it? Got it.
Yeah, I played it to me. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Right, we've now sorted the moderator situation. I've made you a moderator as well, Sarah.
Cool.
Thank you, Rox.
So yeah.
So it looks like the CDC. I think this is another part of the Great Awakening. To be honest with you, it looks like the CDC now owes your average person on their pursuit of truth an apology.
Oh yes. Yeah. Hang on. Let me get that up.
So see, for your average, if any of you are watching and you've got those double down friends, those triple, quadruple, double down friends, I would just produce that bit of source material to them and go, well, just put it out there. I would say you don't even have to lead them with anything. You just have to give them that and go, well, where do we go now with the conversation?
So where is it?
I mean, I wouldn't go around demanding apologies or anything, but
I mean,
it's looking like, your average person who, as I said, who doubled down, your average person who's still driving around wearing a mask on their own in their cars. Saw someone in the rain the other day doing that. That was really weird.
Oh,
it was like proper raining and they were just walking along just.
Hold on a second. There was some article that said
weird.
Moisture in the mask is good for you.
No,
was it?
That.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that one. I want to say it was Newsweek.
I think I sent you the CDC thing in Signal. I think it's in Signal.
Oh, is that? Did you send me that?
Yeah, I shared that a while ago because you shared it. Remember?
Mm-hmm. I shared it a while back, but it's only now it's just starting to pick up a little bit of traction. I think I shared it originally about a week ago.
Here we go. So, new guidance from the CDC focuses on individual decisions. Those exposed to the virus are no longer required to quarantine. Unvaccinated people now have the same guidance as the vaccinated people. Students can stay in class after being exposed to the virus. And it's no longer recommended to screen those without symptoms as of August 11th. 11, What the Flock TV.
He had to dip out, but yeah. Stay posted for possible future lawsuit. There was another major lawsuit against a hospital. See, my thing is that it needs to go. You're hitting the wrong people because they get funded by government-funded agencies. Where it's big money being shuffled, and so there is obviously an agenda behind it.
This was
But
pushed by the likes of Bill Gates. It's Bill Gates that needs to be locked up. And
oh, did you hear who? Okay, and then did you guys send me the thing about Bill Gates? And he's had some food processing plants he's purchased recently that flooded or something weird like that. Just convenient, closed them down. Oh, they were backed by him. Yeah, they were.
Down.
He didn't buy them, but he's backed. They didn't burn down. It had to do with
well,
flooding.
you call them. It's interesting you say that. Food processing plant. Food processing plant. It's a food
Plant-based
processing
food,
plant. Oh, is that where they make those plant-based material? Those plant-based foods. That plant-based impossible meat comes from a plant. So does that mean that it's got absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with fucking organic plants, what we would consider to be plants? Or does it just mean that it's been completely manufactured in a plant and it's made up of chemicals and shit and nasty, horrible?
It can be completely synthetic, can't it?
Completely
Plant-based.
Doesn't have to be real at all. It can be grown in a laboratory.
Could be anything.
But it's
Could be
made,
anything.
it's processed in the plant, so it's plant-based. Well, so long as the laboratory is within the plant, if the laboratory is within the plant, then it's a plant-based experiment.
It can be interpreted so many ways, and that's the thing about the language, where, well, you know, some people might laugh at that, but when you go into a court, the language is completely different to what you think it is.
Words don't mean what you think they do. And the trouble is, the thing is, what people really need to appreciate, when you go into a court of law, you try and speak to the judge and see what happens. Just go and try and speak to him. When you get up and you stand up, in fact, actually, probably better off you don't do that, because if you
No
do
one wants to, so they have a lawyer.
But if you do that, it's not that nobody wants. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to. But as soon as you sign over to the lawyer, you're confirming that you're a dead entity and not capable of speaking. And so you have no right to speak unless you're asked, unless they ask you to, and then they can choose if they're going to hear you or not. But if you try and speak at any other point, unless you actually maintain your sovereignty, unless you're Postmaster General of all your documents and you know exactly where you stand legally in a common court of law, you're fucked. Because you can't say anything. You can't talk to them. You can't say anything to the judge. You'll be held in contempt. Shout out Guy Fawkes. All right, mate. Hey, buddy. Listen, me and Guy had a little back and forth about Mr. TRUMP. I'm not even going to say. Apparently, just his name and mention of his name is getting things downranked. But yeah, Mr. TRUMP. Yeah, Guy. All I was saying, buddy, is I realized in 2016 when he won, I realized very quickly, because of the way that they just completely turned on him, and doing some digging online, and whatever I was allowed to find online, showed me a completely different side to the man. And when I changed my perception of him, like until I changed my perception of him deliberately, because I realized that the perception that I had been programmed by the media, 100% by the media. Then when until that point, I couldn't even hear the man's voice. Just seeing a picture of him with his lips and his stupid fucking expressions and his me, fucking me. Oh, I hated him. Just the sound of his voice triggered me so badly. And then when I realized and I changed it and I flipped my perception of him, and all that hatred turned to love. So, like, I'm not saying like that is all the left-right paradigm. That's the black versus white. That's the, he's the perfect right. Biden's the perfect left. They're part of this system. And if you like, really, the best thing is for all of us to get out of the system. But I do recognize the fact that there's people that are never, ever going to get out of the system. because they love the system and they want to be in the system. As an observer of the system, it's like watching a football match, like watching a football game, and I choose,
Well,
do you know what? I'm going to be a Trump supporter, man. Fuck all you Bidens. I'm going to support Trump. I'm watching the game, and in the game, I'd like Trump to win because I think out of the two, there's only a choice of the two in this scenario. Out of the two, I'd rather have Trump. Oh, damn it! I said his name about 5 times. For fuck's sake.
No, there's got to be another option. I'm not giving into that.
In the short term, well, I don't know. Between now and 2024, I think things is going to happen, honey. I think shit's going to happen.
Tell me,
in the next 2 years.
Tell me where Trump has proven himself to be against like the globalist agenda throughout his career. Tell me where he has chosen. Tell me where Trump has chosen humility and empathy over money.
No. But I don't know about him.
His entire career, before he was ever in office, before he was even on The Apprentice, please show me in his life where he has shown that he has that capability. He's gotten Russian brides.
How do you know?
How many
Has he got Russian bribes? You got proof of that?
Not bribes.
Have you got proof of that?
No, Rich, that's not what I meant
what
to
that
say.
sounds like is leftist rhetoric. It sounds like left propaganda bullshit.
Bride.
Oh, pride. I thought you said bride.
No, not a P, a B. Bride.
Oh, brides, Russian brides. Right, hang on a second. Russian brides. Where were the Russian brides? Hang on, where were the Russian brides? Are you talking about this hotel room? Hang on, are you talking about this hotel room that had piss on the sheets or something? Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, no, Rich. I'm like messing with him because of Ivanka. It's all, I'm joking.
Oh, right, I see. She's royalty. Did you not know that? Ivanka Trump is related to the fucking Romanovs or something.
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
Stereotyping. But the thing is, I think it goes back to that, though. I do think it goes back to that. I think that Trump has himself aligned with an old family. Like before the reset, before who's in power now took control. I think Trump is in bed with that family from before. What their intentions are, I don't know.
Well, think about him with casinos, because like this does. We've talked about this as like a big mafia. Like, so did it split up into like slightly different mafia tribes? But like one kind of runs the show in a way because they hold the secrets to the universe, and really it's just the number behind a curtain.
That's all there is, isn't there? As mafias, I mean, that's what the governments are based on. It's just exactly the same thing, just different words.
But the mainstream media has pushed with Trump being mafia. I mean, but there's just like a narrative behind him, regardless. That's why I just feel like him clearly being like, "Yeah, fired," and all this like weird antagonistic kind of character he played. I was like, man, this feels weird. And then when he became, and I was like, that's just the same person. I'm literally seeing.
There's a bit of a trait of that, isn't there, when actors are now on the actual world stage, where they're blending those lines. And we have a Russian one.
Yeah.
Or Ukrainian one, I should say, as well. Like and then Arnold, like these things have been slowly being put into our awareness there to put 2 and 2 together. Anyway, it is a massive stage. So who do you want to chant for? Neither. You know, if you want to chant, if you want to go and enjoy the game, then you've got to chant for someone.
I want to chant for us. I want to chant for what we want, because what we've discussed.
That's not going to the game, though.
That's not the game. We're not. So in the game, you're not buying. Who do you want to chant for? Like
you're not buying the ticket. You know, you're not investing in anything into it.
You've got no skin in the game.
I just need to.
That's how it's worked out too. I mean, when people go to events, then you can see that people, you know, that group mentality going on. And when it's a heightened emotion and how everyone follows suit, if you're a watcher there, if you're truly observing, you see a hive mentality.
100% Ron DeSantis should run. I'm absolutely 100% guy. I think Ron DeSantis is actually, personally, I would like to see Ron DeSantis because he's only 2 years older than me or something. He's a couple of years older than me, man. He's still in his 40s, isn't he? And
He's so with
and I think we need to get away from these fucking old fuddy-duddies running countries. It should never be fucking old fuddy-duddies running countries. It should be men, like in, you know, my generation. We should be the ones running the countries. Take everybody back again to the Declaration of Independence and the second and the war in America, and remind everybody of just how old they all were when they signed that Declaration of Independence. They were, the oldest one was George Washington, I think, and he was 26 or something, and all the rest of them
young
were
global leaders.
18, 19 years old. 18 and 19 and 20 years old, signing a Declaration of Independence from the British monarchy.
And Britain's all like, they think when they sign
if they can do that, if they can fucking do that, then a bunch of 40-year-olds can get it back from a bunch of fucking 80-year-olds, can't we? Because that's what they are. They're 80,
Bunch
90
of
years old.
geriatrics.
70, 80 and 90 years old. It's time they went in the home.
Well, this, I agree. Like, if we're supposed to retire at a certain age, you know, like that, I
Then
do.
they fucking should.
I was talking about this the other day. I think that government should be like a service. Like, it should be like jury duty.
Oh yeah, you like 5 years. You can't serve more than
live in that type of society.
2 years, and it's like conscription. Between the age of 20, what was it we were saying? Like between the age of 18 and 21, you have to serve at least 6 months in government or something, you know, or between the age of 18 and 25 or 18 and 30, you have to serve 2 years in government. You have to serve your country in government, learn how it works, and, you know, so it's a rotation, a constant rotation of those people that are, and you'll still have the people clambering to get to the top to do, you know, to take control. But even if they're fucking nut jobs like bloody Carl Schwab or something, they can't last more than 2 years, and they can never come back again, and nobody in their family can come back again for the next 2 years or something. That's how it used to be in America. I think it used to be that, you know, you could only serve for a certain period, and then afterwards you weren't allowed to go for re-election, and nobody in your family was allowed to go in for election for a period afterwards as well. You're muted, right, Sarah? You're muted, babe.
Thank you. I was going to say that is true with some. I want to say is that not true with the Senate? It's like the Congress, or one of them is that you can just keep running. And then the other issue is, you know, it's sort of like keeping the money out in general, which is, I feel like, one of the only ways you have to have like a mutual fund that everybody pulls from, where there's no discrepancy on where the money came from, and it's all equal, because that's a huge part of the problem. But remember that, I think I showed it live, you know, the other problem is the incestual aspect of it. So like the Monsanto, so this goes with the same thing with the Big Pharma and the CDC. So same thing with Monsanto and the FDA. They all kind of just, you know, they're like, oh, you want to take this shift this time, and I'll just hop over here. And then, like, you know, in a few years we can just flip flop again. Is that cool? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Guy, I'll give you that, right? But dude, I think people are a little bit unfair. I think Trump was expecting to be in for 2 terms, and so it was an 8-year plan that Trump was formulating, and he only had the opportunity to implement the first 4 years. And in the first 4 years, he de-escalated all wars. He crossed the DMZ in North Korea. He, you know, the amount of things that he did do, and the draining the swamp thing. I argue that Trump absolutely drained the swamp, and what was left, we were looking at a swamp full of swamp monsters, but we could see all the swamp monsters because Trump drained it. He didn't clear it. That's the trouble. He didn't drain and clear the swamp. He just drained it. But we can all see now, clear as day, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, you know,
Richie,
all of them.
He didn't drain the swamp like you think he did.
He drained it. Listen, I would not have.
Farce, in my opinion. That's like the farce of people believing like Obama did all these great things when he was just kind of a talker. If I can find,
I always think that it's the same thing's going to happen no matter who, which side, who, what name. It's the same things.
As an American,
it's just explained differently if it's someone else.
The children are still
positive or negative depending on your side.
Yep. The rich are still getting richer. The bombs are still dropping. Dude, Trump dropped as many supposedly. So whether he's a puppet or not, that's why I can't figure out where he's awesome in this, because he dropped just as many drone strikes as Obama, if not more.
If you look at where we are now, it's personal. Like it's more personal. So it's more close to here, whereas a bomb or whatnot, something far away, this is now an invisible threat that's like in your mask or some shit. So that's where the difference is too. We had to be like the royal we.
While we're on the subject of
built up
puppets
to
as
this,
well,
had to be built up to this point that we wouldn't just click like.
And
that.
I think
we need to include international puppets in this whole window as well. Like obviously, we know that Kim Jong Un's an actor. Yeah, he's playing a position. Is the whole situation with his brother. And the signifier that we all saw that once his brother was taken into captivity, the public meeting was, and again, you can simplify all this just by going, we're witnessing the beginning of the destruction of the old guard. When you want to pinpoint it down to people, Ron DeSantis, Trump, this person, that person, now we're getting into like the little components of it that are really, as we say, Rich, fuck all to a big ship.
Yeah.
Really, these people will come and go.
Yeah.
Right? We've said it before. You can take that's it.
Yeah.
You can take the person to a court of law. You can't take the presidency itself. So these seats, these puppeteering seats, will remain so long as the bureaucracy behind them remains in play. The people will come and go. People will come and go in and out of the Oval Office. The actors will carry on, the script will carry on, but the chair itself that holds the presidency in whatever country, we're now starting to see, these people are more than puppets. Some of these people are doing this, and it's not been a vocational choice. Some of them have been born into it. So then you start looking at North Korea and you start going, hold on a minute, that isn't a stronghold for North Koreans. Oh, right. Okay, now you're starting to see Fiji. It's not just the holiday destination we were told it is. The whole campaign with Fiji water on the red carpets was for people paying attention. Like, hello, wake up. Like, it's all there. The information out there is yours to know. Like, the old guard have been in place for they've been ingrained for so long. I've said it before. It's like being born with plasters you didn't know were on your body, and then someone goes to rip it off, and you're like, ow,
700 years
that was
ago.
there.
700 or 1,000 years ago, that old guard was the new guard. The old
it's been
guard
ingrained for so long, we don't know it any different.
The old guard we're talking about are the people that have been instigating these resets, rewriting history, and hijacking reality to basically reflect what they want it to reflect, and for them to be the ones in power. For them to be, to have
the same people that were touting the polls saying Hillary was going to win were the same people that were saying they were the same people that were going, Kim Jong-un, he'll never meet Trump. The two of them will blow each other up with nuclear weapons before that happens. And what happened after his brother was taken into captivity, the meeting happened. But it wasn't because I don't believe for a second it was because the people that had put him in captivity had done him in. I think that was a signifier that there are some people that are now in control that are a bit bigger to gig than the people that were in control before, which is why he was up for meeting him. Because for me, the simplest answer is the correct one. The only reason Kim would have any reason to meet him is if he found out that people had his brother and his brother wasn't dead as purported. Like it starts to get a bit Jason Bourne. It starts to flood over to the streets, and then the mainstream media have to report on something because they can't ignore it. They can't defend it. They've got to tell the people.
This is why they made films like Jason Bourne and the Adjustment Bureau. So
What is it? Lies in the news,
exactly
truth in
what's
the
going
movies.
on, man. It is Jason Bourne. It is the Adjustment Bureau, and it's been going on this whole bloody time. They got their little manipulations that they can pull, and it's all because they've got this image. They've got this model that they're trying to create, and the thing is, I think the most interesting thing, though, thinking about it, is like, has it been 700 years? If Jason Archaic is right,
it's interesting about the numbers again, Rich. You're right.
Jason Archaics is saying that every 138 years there's this reset. The last one was in 1902. That links up with what we've been saying and what you've been thinking about 1909. And it was, something happening from 1890. Between 1890 and 1909, something fucking happened, right? And that's the Phoenix event happened right there in 1902. So, maybe they've only had control for... Let's stop thinking in terms of years and let's start thinking in terms of 138-year cycle resets. Maybe they've only had a couple of resets. Maybe they've only had control for a couple of resets. That's why there's so much. What's the word?
Okay, guys, think about it this way. So I always go back to the show Lost. I keep bringing that show up again because they literally have a reset machine, right? But think about
do you know what? I want to watch Lost again. I'm going to download
you should. So the concept towards the end, right? They're literally showing like a whole island can warp out of where it's at and sort of end up somewhere else. What if this like grid or dome we live on, we already know like there's independent toroidal fields. There's that concept that FPV has with the rainbow, and it sort of connecting lines. Well, what if that's like independent domes and they can take that and sort of shift it over to a whole other area? And that's what happens every 138 years. And it causes in the effect, it causes all kinds of damage, and it also creates like storms as things are shifting because of the electromagnetic.
Speaking of storms, I keep putting the microphone on mute because I'm getting thunder rumbles around me.
I want to hear a little bit of that.
Yeah, me too.
When it gets a bit closer, but there's a lot of wind going about and whatnot, but there's big rumbles above my head. And I keep going like this to feel like if it started to rain, but you can see there's one T-shirt on the line and you might see it.
4 seasons of Lost? No.
We'll be able to tell when the storm's coming by how crazy the...
How many seasons of Lost were there? How many seasons are Lost? 6 or 7?
Where?
A lot.
What are you talking about?
How many seasons of Lost were there? 6 or 7?
Oh, seasons of Lost. I'm sorry, like 7. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I have no idea because I don't watch it. My bad.
Oh no, you're good. I actually am surprised. I ended up binging. That was like one of those last shows I binged before I stopped watching TV. So, and now people think I'm like hoity-toity myself because I'm like, oh yeah, I don't watch TV. I'm like, no, I'm just going through a phase. I definitely binge watch plenty of shows. We were talking about.
I just watched Stargate.
Yeah. I totally binge watched Stargate. I got really into it, and that was before I woke up more on the spiritual end of things. So when I watched it, for me, it was actually helpful for part of my awakening because it helped. I was like, oh my god, they are totally showing us the truth right here.
The stories
like, it's happening now.
All of them really. Pick any sci-fi series, and it's all the same. You see how similar Stargate episodes are to Star Trek episodes, and all of them. Like, doesn't matter if it's Voyager or some other one. They're all. It's really all the same.
Yeah.
Like Stargate, like I watched Stargate Atlantis was the last one that I'd watched, right? Lockdowns, viruses, pathogens, AI, city, like the lot. It has the lot in it. You know, it's just more updated. You know, you get to the more recent series, they just the data's a little bit more updated. The plan, the agenda's always there, but
also a little more synced. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when they update it, they start syncing in more of.
I like comparing
the
them. Right?
storylines.
You compare them to the old ones, like the V series. That's got a really old one as well. So when you compare them, you go, oh yeah, it's the same story. They've just updated a few details, which is more aligned to now technology or technology of now or very soon. So I should actually go through and actually count how many times it's a pathogen, an infectious disease or something that comes through one of these days, because it's just every second, every third episode. If it's not about it, they'll mention it in something too. Oh, we're transporting these life-saving V's.
And it's the whole what do you call them? The replicators.
Yeah.
That whole, right. That's such a fascinating theory.
That's in all of it too. I mean, that's in Stargate, right? Replicators, they call them. But in Star Trek, that's Borg, nanotech.
Yep.
Replicators. Same.
Yeah, that self-replicate. Yep.
They all have these through lines, which are what they've seeded into, and that's what people are getting. Basically.
From space.
Yeah. Here, right here now, injecting themselves with stuff like this. It's you know, that has become reality for a lot of people that weren't aware of what's going on, weren't aware of the other side of these stories, because it's the same stories. It doesn't matter like what world you're in. The stories are what guide us, and that's you know, they got the name image makers, and that's Medea Media, you know, creating that illusion. But the stories are the same. It's just, you know, I mean, what do people generally like? What do they want to watch and stuff as well? Drama. They want to see struggle. They want to see all these things. So that's what they get in their lives. That's what they're interested in. So what you're interested in watching like that is what you get. That's why I've never could watch horror and stuff like this as well. It's like, why?
Well, that's part of the and that's part of the brainwashing on a lot of it.
I went through a period when I really enjoyed horror. I really enjoyed gore. All
Dexter
that.
and stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Dexter. I loved that.
I did like that show. I wouldn't really get in. I wouldn't get into I never could. You know, the gory stuff. I wouldn't watch it. But a lot of times they ended. Remember, they kind of started cutting those scenes. You didn't see as much of the gore at one point.
But it makes you think about things, right?
Yes.
It's only a problem when you don't want to think about it.
And the acceptability.
When you
like
push it away, and it's
him.
just an unconscious moral, because it's basically whatever, you know, the character that you associate more with, you'll choose their traits over your own if you're not thinking. If you're thinking and aware, you take those choices as they come. You're desensitizing yourself anyway from this stuff in those moments. But if you're not aware, then it becomes the propaganda. It becomes something that your subconscious takes on. Why? You know, it's why do you associate with that character and that character? Like the evil character, I was talking about this with my sister just the other day. She's performing in a show. She's playing a witch or whatever. And it's like, why the evil character, like when it's played well, there's so many things that you associate yourself with the evil character. They're not evil. You know, when you're playing that role, you're not evil. You're just an ends to a means to an end. You're just, I have this, I have to do, and it might be through love or what intentions, but it's seen as evil to the other people. Still the same story.
I think what you're talking about there, Callum, really highlights really beautifully that. I mean, that is life. That's not just in a play. Life is you know, this world is a stage. We are in a we're all basically performing. We're not performing, but well, you're either performing or you're living. So assuming the whole point, what we're talking about, duality and everything, we've all got that inside of us. We've all got the dark inside of us. We've all got the light inside of us. That means that essentially we are the devil and we are Jesus. At this, we can be both at the same time.
The two sons.
It's the thing that Jesus talks about, and the character of Jesus, whatever, however you want to take Jesus. The stories in the scriptures say, he says about marrying the left and the right, and he's talking about the brain. He's talking about the female and the male hemispheres of the brain to become one. And he's also talking about the brain and the heart to become one. It's, you know, it's this interconnectivity between the two, that requires balance. For you to be able to do that, you have to be balanced. You have to be emotionally balanced, intellectually balanced, spiritually, physically, experientially, you know?
Not forcing with healing, to allow to just envision like a balance. This is sort of like when we were doing the healing session the other day, and we were saying, like, you know, envision the red coming up through the feet, and the sort of purple coming up, you know, from the heaven, coming together and creating this sort of gold foil, like, you know, in your solar plexus shine. You know, you just emanates from you at that point. Just envision that, and think about that. That's really just balance. I'm not saying, hey, I got this shoulder pain happening right here. I want this right here fixed right here. I want that to go away right now. Because just like we watched in the documentary, she was like, she listened to herself. She realized how forceful she sounded on her own body. Get out of there right now, you know? And then she's, wait a second, that's not the right approach. So it's interesting how quickly that changed things. And again, there was no talk, if you remember, of radiation, chemo.
You'll see a brain tumor in most everything. Most everything has a brain tumor, just people don't look in the brain. They don't do the scans. But if you have a tumor or something within the body, most definitely you have a tumor in the brain as well, right? It's just people don't check it. If you did, they'd go, "Oh my God, you've got a tumor in the brain. We have to spread to the brain. We have to."
If you bought into this, if you're buying into these fucking narratives, and you're pushing these narratives, and you're there in your local library going, "Oh yeah, isn't this great? Look at this drag man, like speaking to our 4-year-olds. Isn't this fantastic?" And you're pushing, you're going along with it, and you're saying, yeah, people should wear masks, and yeah, we should all get needles in the arm. Basically, I had a really, really good fucking funny thing I was going to say. It was really poignant and everything, and I've just forgotten in the middle of saying it.
Well, with that being said, if you don't mind, I'm going to say my peace and love, and I'm going to take off because I have to start my other day. But
we've been going for nearly 2 hours, but yes, of course, yeah. Frick, it's like 2 minutes to 8. We were supposed to finish like 15 minutes ago.
Well, we also discussed you continuing on without me, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. So I really I'm putting this on you, Rox. I'm just kidding. You got this. Callum, best behavior, please. I'm just kidding. Okay, guys. And I will see you soon. We're going to try to do this more often. So we'll see you soon.
Big love, darling. Have a great day, sweetheart.
And on.
And on. Bye.
Bye, darling.
On that note, 2 hours in, I mean, if you guys want to keep going, I sent you
this is a good time for me as well, because I've got a lot of stuff going on in the background, so I might have to chime out as well, my darling.
All right, man. Cool. Okay. Well, in that case, then, do you want to keep, Callum? You want to keep going? Yeah.
It's up to you. I'm happy to keep going for a bit.
I might be able to come back on. I've just got a few other things going on in the background, so I might be able
We'll
to
keep
jump back
going
in.
we'll keep going for a little bit, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put up. We're just going to take a little break. This is a coffee break, pee break, roll a doobie, whatever. It's going to be between 4 minutes and 8
Well, in that case, I might be able to come back, so that's really good. So yeah, if you can do that, I might just keep all this here and come back.
It might even be a
Motormouth here has got a lot
15-minute
to say.
interval. In fact, it
Wow,
could very possibly
that's
be a
even better.
15-minute interval.
So you
All
heard
right,
him.
guys?
Go get your drinks, get everything sorted, and we will see you on the other side.
All right, peeps. Much love.
Shit the fuck up. I ain't white and it's lost for that, so I use color safe bleach at the laundromat and deal with it. You see how my squad react. We keep our hands warm with the damn Patriot Act. We burn pages. Matter of fact, we burn back. It was written as an outward attack. See, you can't fight a feeling. I feel terrified. There's a war against me, my friends, my fam, my pride, my life, my job, my rights, and like-minded folks are like they just don't mind it. So cool, right? They wag the dog, we cast the lipstick. What kind of city plumber thought that he could make these open rugby pipes fit? Well, they don't. I'm casting the drip. I'll practice holding my breath and stick with the shit. It goes hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Stand up so we know who's here, who wanna open the machine and break against the gears. Come on, hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Stand up so we know who's here, who wanna open the machine and break against the gears. Hands up if you're broken, but find a way to stand up. Give it up if you're hoping and never give it up. Stand up so we know who's here, who wanna open the machine and break against the gears. Come on. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boy. Big puny.
Puny?
Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant.
Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Resist. Are you an actor or an activist? It's more than your right to insist. Refuse to the government admits. Take a risk. Raise your fist. Unite people, army, enlist. Rebel music transmit like this. Proving that the movement exists. Realize you're the catalyst. Refuse. FBI. All they forced to lie. Suspected spies. Clientele. Tomahawks. Scorch the sky. White collar crime. Immortalize Yusef. Careful what you rep of the new left. Only a few left. Got the bureau doing Mueller two-step. Fire traps. Warrants for the wiretaps. Equal employer op. Higher apps. Read between the lines. Redefine. Enlist people army marching across a hard march. Dollar scams. Saudi royal fam. Oil contraband. Fun off the Taliban. Atomic blue. Balmy move. Christian and Islamic fuse. Attend more funerals than barbecues. Niggas died and fill them on the shoes. Know your God. The con is on if you're confused. Resist. Are you an actor or an activist? It's more than your right to insist. Refuse to the government admits. Take a risk. Raise your fist. Unite people, army, enlist. Rebel music transmit like this. Proving that the movement exists. Realize you're the catalyst. Refuse. The hate made. Push the fear past tear gas. Flashbang grenades. Demonstrate. Awareness generate protests and disregard the pepper spray. Don't stop. Overthrow the legislate. Till they pay us reparations every day. Filthy pigs. Murderers. The hate made. Maybe you heard of us. Revenge for the engineered virus. Slit their eyelids. Carve an image in their iris. So slaughter bloodshed. Brutalizing. The truth rises. The CIA trained to crash test pilots. So feel wise. Don't believe. Cause they don't want you to see through the real eyes. So realize. Don't accept the realize. Refuse. Resist. Are you an actor or an activist? It's more than your right to insist. Refuse to the government admits. Take a risk. Raise your fist. Unite people, army, enlist. Rebel music transmit like this. Proving that the movement exists. Realize you're the catalyst. Refuse. Resist. Are you an actor or an activist? It's more than your right to insist. Refuse to the government admits. Take a risk. Raise your fist. Unite people, army, enlist. Rebel music transmit like this. Proving that the movement exists. Realize you're the catalyst. Refuse. drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes. A few drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes. Yes. A few drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes. A few drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes.
Perfect. Yes. This is awesome.
Everybody
Illuminati confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed.
Well done.
Double Illuminati. Double upside down.
Red eye, same as me, mate.
Swing of the head. Up and down. Listen as the piano plays the music. Exercise just for the head and throw head back. Up and down. Exercise just for the head. Flash light in the left. Exercise just for the head and throw head back. Up and down. Exercise just for the head. Flash light.
I'm Battlecaster.
Yeah, exactly.
State of the world, Protect the conditions of man's mentality. War is a sign of the times. State of the world, death to the family. Destroy the structure of morals and poison us all. Right before our eyes, there are men manufacturing men. Let the cloning begin. Question is lit. Before we multiply into a race of DNA, extract the matches that attack us. How do you control? A nation that was born without a soul. Lost their mind. Desperate measures in an era of apparent parent failure. Kids rebelling, raising hell because they raise themselves. It's evident we need the God to help. It's really just issues with more than we can possibly imagine. It's war, religion, anarchy, abortion, even family divorce. Foreign policy, America, the home of the free. We've lost faith in all our.
Imagine that you're playing this computer game.
Yes.
Life in the. What do you think you've learned?
Absolutely nothing. Well, I've tried to learn, but I'll calculate not a lot really. I've learned that you must treat people properly, and that you must proceed in a certain way, and you must try and have a vibe of how to sort of enjoy situations. So I've learned just to, don't get miserable or fight the misery with some intelligence. This is like the most difficult area of the whole malarkey, really. It's how to turn something around when it's going. And it's not something that you can learn by well, as far as I can see, it's something that comes to you with a bit of luck and a bit of instinct, yeah? But therefore, it's not something you can ever bank on. I'm not smart enough to figure out what the hell it is or how it works at all, That's why I treat it like voodoo, 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 voodoo. I do find I still have a talent to cause a bit of, stir up a little bit of confusion, yeah? But I'll do what I can to create as much chaos as I possibly can. But my chaos is always well-natured, or has a positive goal at the end of, when I start causing chaos in a situation, it's because the situation really needed to be changed, for example, or something is going to happen that I thought would be a good idea. And 9 times out of 10, I'm on it, I must say. Hopefully, that hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed.
You're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. Puny. Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant.
Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Resist!
You're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boy. Big beauty.
Perfect.
You're right. It's just.
Stop! No. Ah, right. Hey, look, how'd you like it? Look what Sarah's done. Look, it looks like you're sat on one sofa and I'm sat on the other, and we're playing fucking 6D chess, mate, because we've got 2 chessboards going on. Yeah. So, there is a link for you in Signal if you wanna join. There she is. There she is. Hey, listen. All right, so I've got to do this now. Hang on. It's only 19 seconds long.
Her face is a map of the world, is a map of the world. You can see she's a beautiful girl, she's a beautiful girl.
I've got to forget, I've got it on loop. Sorry, but there we go. Here she is. Otherwise known as Embers. Otherwise known as M's Mad World. Can't hear you, babe. You're muted.
I'm muted. I'm muted. You know me. Because I come in, and I usually come in super loud. So I usually have the mic muted before I come on. Because you never know what the hell's going to be going on behind me. Either. I know it's a wall, but to the left of me, there's a whole open space where people just come in and out. You never see them. Sometimes you hear them. I try to put up signs too, like, yo, Emma's recording.
You'll be all right because you've got your microphone on, which is, your mic's right next to your mouth. You'll be all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Gesundheit.
Good.
So how have you been, Em?
I'm good. I don't know if it's just me paying attention to things more that are going on around me, and like in real world, like when I'm out in public, I think I'm like hypersensitive to stuff, and it could just be me being paranoid, but I feel like a lot of people, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like, especially in my town, it seems like there's like some secret that everybody else is aware of, and that I'm the only one that doesn't know it. And it's super weird because when I go in public, it's not just a feeling that I have. I can visibly see other people reacting in a certain way when I come in their like personal space. And I don't know if it's my energy or whatever, but it's something that I don't know if everybody else is also experiencing something similar to that, where you just seem more hyper aware of people and everything going on around you. And then when you start noticing that, it's like almost like they also, maybe they're hyper aware of the environment around them and situation. And that's why you guys are connected. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I had to talk myself through that a little bit, but I'm constantly getting ill when I'm in public. That's why I don't go in public, because I feel like people are looking at me because they know something and they're not telling me. And then when they don't tell me, I get frustrated, and I'm just like, that's
you could flip that as well. You could flip that 100%, 180 and go, you've got the secret.
Right, I say that what it is you've got the secret, and they know that you know something that they don't, because it's shining off of you, but they can't see the shine. They just
see me.
They can, but they don't know what they don't know what it is that they're looking at, which is why. So when you look and you catch somebody's eye, like you see it, and they've been looking right at you, and then they look away.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Right? Yeah. Well, it's because they know they can see that you are somebody of importance, but they don't know why. They've got no idea why you're of importance. But you've got the energy coming off you, the light shining off you, whatever it is, or maybe it's something deeper than that. Their soul recognizes your soul, but they have no connection to their soul. They don't listen to their
so they don't understand it.
Thoughts. They don't listen to the thoughts that their soul gives them. They're only listening. They're only listening to their own ego. You know. And so they look at
Yeah.
that. And I've had that my whole life, man. I've noticed it my whole life.
I just get ill and I'll look at people and my favorite expression, do I have a booger? Because they're staring at me so hard that I always just look at them and I'll snap. My instant and first reaction is always to be ill, and I'm trying to work through. I'm trying to change that.
Take control
I'm
of those
snappy.
situations, and when it happens next time, you just look at them and smile. Just give them a big smile, and not an antagonistic smile, a genuine smile, because they don't know. They don't know. It confuses them, and you're a bit scary, right? So if you just give them. No, I don't mean that you're a bit scary. I mean all of us.
I hear that a lot, though.
No, I don't. I didn't mean it like that, though. What I meant was because they're recognizing something they don't recognize, or they're seeing, that in itself is scary. I don't mean you, right? You're terrifying.
No, I know.
You are terrifying. But anyway, no, but the thing is, like, so just be like, and I find it hard, when I catch somebody's eye, I look away because I'm like, oh shit, I don't want them to think that I'm fucking staring at them.
The staring at them, yeah.
You know, and it's not.
Even though I've been staring at them for a hot minute, I'm really bad for that.
I know that people are intimidated by my look. If I'm staring at somebody, people get intimidated by it. I know they do, and so I'm very conscious of that. I'm very conscious of my sharp facial features that make my face intimidating because I've got a resting bitch face. So I'm just like, oh shit, was I looking at you? Sorry. Sorry. It's all right. No, I don't want to kill you and your family. Honestly, I'm a nice guy. I don't want to kill you and your family.
I'm like the nicest person.
No, that's the look on my face, but please.
That's why we look so good for our age, is because we just sit there in our solitude with our resting bitch face most of the day, just looking so awesome.
8 times out of 10 as well. If you do that, what pisses me off is when I do smile, right, and I smile at them, and their expression doesn't even change, and then I feel like a dick, and I'm like, oh fuck you then, and I just look away because it's like. You're not even your facial. Maybe you can't even see me, because that's the thing as well. Maybe they're not looking at you.
Yeah.
Maybe they're really not looking. Maybe they're actually looking. They're getting a download from Agent Smith, right? And they're learning kung fu or something. I don't know, but maybe they're getting the download and they can't see you. They're not focused on you. It's just they're looking in your direction. It's just, how many times can it be that? Why is it every fucking time? It seems like
you're out.
Pretty much everybody around me at one time or another is staring at me. If I'm in a room and I look up, there will be guaranteed at least 3 people looking at me at one time.
3 people.
At one time. And I'm like, what's going on, man?
And then my brain starts conspiring that those 3 people know one another and that they are plotting against me because they're all looking at me at the same time. That's where my brain goes. Like this is why I don't go in public. Because I'm like, those 3 people are going to kidnap me when I'm not looking.
Those are the thoughts that you can't.
It's moss to a flame. It's moss to a flame.
Oh yeah.
And because they can see, let's say they can see our connection to source. Maybe what's going on with us is we've all got this fucking bright blue light that just goes off, and it's connected to source, and they know it's connected to source, so they know that there's not much that they can do. They're powerless against you unless you are absolutely unaware of who you are. If you're absolutely unaware of who you are, then they can manipulate you. But if you're aware of who and what you are, they can't do shit. Nothing. They cannot do anything, because anything that they try to do will immediately backfire on them.
Come back on it. Yep.
Right? Because because you're connected to source. You got a mission. Nothing's going to stop you. Nothing's going to stop you doing what you're here to do.
that's where you see other people as well. You get a look from a different kind of people, which is that sparkle in the eye, and it's then a natural response to do the smile. I'll see. Look, I had a little nod in there too, because who cannot?
What?
Who
Right?
cannot,
I do that too.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
there's no better
NLP.
feeling than catching somebody's eye, and there's this knowing that passes between you, just like, and just a little, you're right, nod,
Yep.
or a little
Just
wink.
say, yeah, I see you. Yeah.
I love
it
it.
in kids.
I like
even to a point where a kid's crying and then gets a glimpse of the tall man, and then you give a little smile and they break whatever they were doing, and they're
I'd pull a funny face. if the kid is crying and it looks at me, I just pull a funny face at it. Like, just try and do something goofy.
I just always
and if that doesn't stop it, then I go, fuck you then. It's not my fucking kid.
I just feel like I will
try and get the
take you
timing
to a wall.
right. If a kid falls over, I always fall over instantly after they've done that, like in the most dramatic way possible, and then go.
You think that's instant karma for not going over and helping the kid?
Well, they just get up and laugh. That breaks them completely if you get the timing right.
Oh, you do it deliberately.
You
do it deliberately. I see what you mean.
Turn and fall over.
Right. I thought you were saying it just that. Like, you see, I see this kid fall over, and then I tripped over and fucking immediately after seeing the kid fall over, I fell over. But no, like you say, like hey, look, oh, dude, I can do that. Yeah, this is fun, man.
But also, more importantly, a lot of the time, it breaks all the adults in the room. It breaks them all. But just to see something so shocking, but not bad shocking.
Yeah.
Like compassionate sort of shocking. It's like, oh, completely changes an entire room as well. Yeah. I've done it a few times.
Big time. No, good words of advice, Cam. Good words of advice. It is lovely to be here on a panel where is here, my darling girl. It's lovely to meet you. Really lovely to share the same panel as you. I've really wanted to meet you for a long time now. So yeah, big love to you, my darling.
I was so excited. I was like, oh, look, she just.
And now we get grabbled.
Now we get grabbled.
And now we get some grabbling.
Can you hear us still?
Not fair. Not fair.
Oh, for crying out loud.
That's
no
not
way.
fair.
If you can hear us, babe, you're frozen and we can't hear you.
Reset.
Not fair.
I've just killed another bloody cockroach with an egg sack on its ass. That's so satisfying when they pop.
Ew.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we get to hear you again in a short moment. But yeah, it's lovely to be on the panel with her and finally get to actually meet her. Lovely.
Hey, Batman. No way. I'm Batman.
I can't see the chat. I can't see anything.
You should be able to see the chat, right? If your phone's on.
My mobile's not working properly. It's full battery, but I'm on the internet, not on the Wi-Fi, and it's not letting me flick over. It's just saying there's nothing there. So.
But are you on your phone though? Are you on your phone?
Yep.
Because they're up on the top right. Can you see comments at all, or have you got it on full screen?
No, it doesn't go on like that on this phone. I've got a Samsung, Rich. It's not very fun. I'll be honest with you. It's not great fun.
That's just because they've updated.
I've got a chat box. I've got a chat box, but I'm not on. I can see you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. Then at the bottom, mic, cam, settings, chat, leave. But when I press chat, it says there's nothing there. It's not loading the chat. It's like there's not enough signal for it to do that as well as this.
The private,
not the private chat. The comments.
The other one.
The comments.
Right,
yeah.
Beg
So
your pardon.
shout out to the chat room. Really sorry I can't see or like interact with any of your posts just now, but massive love and respect to you all for taking the time to be there and actually do something and interact. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, man.
Massive love.
And shout out to the people who have joined us. Dagon.
Big love. Massive love.
They've come through, Shaolin Master. I've got no idea if you're a Shaolin Master, but
you could be a Shaolin Master. Yes.
So let's reorientate the conversation again. We'll go back to taking back control. Taking back control, man.
Yes.
Taking back our power, and how we're going to do that.
Mm.
And if sitting around in chat rooms and talking about it is going to do anything, or if actually it might be more effective if we actually start putting pen to paper, if we, if need be, and working out some ways that we can locally, because the only way we can do anything now, obviously we have to start at home, right at with ourselves, with all the work that needs to be done internally, but then on a community side, community scale, what is it? Local work, local action leads
National
to
effect.
national effect.
So as we said earlier, we've got Carlisle this Saturday, and as you know, that the Wide Awake show will always have some kind of representation across the UK when there's bits and pieces going on. We will try and endeavour to be there to give a personal connection to those that want to connect with other people. As I said, myself personally, I'm involved with a lot of homeschooling networks. I'm associated with people that are doing self-build, self-growing. People that like we've said on the show before, there are parallel societies to what is going on in this system. People are already living outside of this system and flourishing within their own communities. So that's something that we're going to really very much advocate for. And I would urge you internationally, wherever you are watching this from, if you are sitting around waiting for someone else to do it, don't. Start yourself. Start yourself. We'll be a beacon for you. We'll let people know what you're doing. We're also connected with other content makers that do that as well, and they share the information out there. And if there's meetups of any like-minded individuals, even if you think you are in some bumfuck Idaho area where no one will ever heard of, like Clegg Huddersfax or something, somewhere that everyone's like, where? What? Where's that? Nowheresville. You never know. There might be a couple of other people that resonate. Lord knows, when Noel started out in Malta, I remember he was just like, wow, there is just no one out here that just is on the way.
He managed
and
to
then,
get
sure enough,
2,000 people. He managed to get 2,000 people himself up.
Just goes to show. Just goes to show. The silent majority is out there, but that is the problem. The majority of them are silent for fear of social reprisal. Sometimes the analogy for me is being deserted and seeing someone there and putting out an SOS signal and saying, I'm here. You only need them to come within a particular proximity of yourself before you go, actually, I could go there. Myself, Dolly, Rich, we did that back in 2019. Actually, yeah, it was 2019, I think it was, or beginning of 2020. No, it's 2019. We did the meetup, and many people came out. So many people came out, and it wasn't like we were meeting up to start a project. We were just meeting up to let people know it wasn't on the internet. This was a real life thing. People did question these things, and they found answers to not pertain to what they were taught. So that can become very isolating. You can become isolated with your family. Your family are the most judgmental people in your life. So if you're isolating yourselves just within your family, you're not going to do yourself a service. Yes, brother.
I think because you know how like nobody ever really gives us any accolades or anything, but I think we should no, we don't need them. But I just do want to kind of point out the fact that shows like, quite frankly, the show that he does now, and the show that, I mean, all right, Luke Rudowski was already sort of doing something similar, but what we did with the Wide Awake show, like nobody had done that. What we've been doing over the last, 3 or 4 years.
I think as a community, though, we can say that, because there's so many individuals that if they weren't doing what they were doing, that I was talking about, what was his name? Brandon, what was his name?
Cook?
No, Nathan. Anyway, someone we had on the show, right? He was talking about this first wave. He was saying, look, loads of us post 2018 went from becoming viewers to actually going, actually no, I'm actually going to vouch for myself here. It's almost like the analogy for an Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, my name is Roxanne. I don't think I'm living on a spinning ball, and I also don't think this. And just before you think I think that, I don't think that. And it's all like, in our own way, we all kind of got on our soapbox and said to our local and national communities, I'm not partaking in this. This is not, it's not my gig, man. It's not my gig. Yeah, we took back control. And that was fraught actually pre-Rona with social reprisal. That was fraught with people losing their jobs, people losing their families, being shunned from their families, being shunned from their homes. To her.
Roxanne,
you know?
Roxanne lost her inheritance.
Listen, I won't be the only one. I won't be the only one. It's modern day shunning from the family, getting excommunicated from the family. You know,
this is before Rona, before lockdowns. This is you know, like, yeah, but purely because of what we were talking about, the Globe Live stuff. Purely because of that, Rox lost her job, she lost her home, and she lost her inheritance as a result of that, because she stood her ground. She said, "No, fuck you. I'm not going to shut up about this. This needs to be talked in." Since then,
and there was a lot of people that I was surrounded with at the time that very, 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 very nearly lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's no need for us to mention names, but I'm talking, I can think of
not Dave Murphy,
Dave
Mantle,
people.
Trinity 4, he lost everything.
Absolutely
Trinity 4 lost everything. Jason nearly lost everything, didn't he? He had some, there was some issues going on in Jason's life. He nearly lost everything. Like, there was, yeah, and this is all pre-Rona, man. This is all pre-2020.
That's something that's on your personal pursuit of truth. You either, like I said, it's simple. You just either do something or you do nothing. For me, my personal pursuit was, I've grown up in the capital city my whole life. I've been schooled here. I've gone to college here. I've worked here. I've had my children here. I started off having them schooled here. And I'm still here. So when it came to waking up to these most incredibly important truths, the only thing that was possible in my mind was going to go and have those conversations with people out on road, because I was like, right, I know my family thinks I'm nuts, but I can't be the only person that thinks this, and it can't just be on the internet. Where better to take it? Speaker's Corner, where people for decades have gone to speak publicly upon things that they are very passionate about. It's not debate corner. It's not for people to go and debate. It's for people to go and elevate themselves 2 feet across the ground to tell people the things that they're most passionate about. So for me, it was a foregone conclusion, as Rich knows, that that's where we were going to take the conversation. And so I did, with my little ramshackle setup, my little foam boards to begin with, telling people, look, this is
with
the guy
Harry.
that did the Globe, and yeah, this is the guy that did the Globe, and he,
John Smith Globe Live. Shout out John Smith Globe Live, man.
But it has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. Everyone starts somewhere with their public conversation about this. Like we said, Rich, it's about taking these contentious topics and making them socially acceptable conversations. Why? We're going to talk about infinite space without any supporting evidence and call that a socially acceptable conversation. Well, then I'll talk about infinite land. Try that one for size. We're going to get laughed out of the room. Well, let's try harder until we're not laughed out of the room.
So I'm gonna,
you know, go on. I'll yield the floor. Sorry, because I
want to answer the little voice in my head, right? The little thought in my head that's going, yeah, but you haven't gone anywhere, Rich. You've just been sat in your fucking apartment or in your room or wherever the whole time. You haven't actually gone anywhere or done anything, right? I've been there in spirit, live on all of these things. I went on the tour. I was at the meetup. I was at every single one of these events. But here in Tenerife, protesting is not something that really happens. And particularly the protesting over the last couple of years, it's definitely, people just, they're all so sucked into the system and so desperate to be here, they'll do anything, jump through any hoops, pay any money, do whatever it is asked of them to do it, and they'll bend over and, yeah, go on, insert it, yeah, and again, oh, go on, and again, okay then, right? But that hasn't stopped me from still having conversations with people and still taking it to the public. Because up until a year ago, I was working live, performing live 6 nights a week to a room or a restaurant or a bar full of full of people, filled every gig that I did, because people always came while I was playing. And at the end of the gig and during the gig, I would always drop in truth drops at the end of the gig when I was talking to people. I couldn't small talk with people. I'd always work it in somehow, talking mostly about the shape of the earth, because we could see the islands and stuff, and but I'd basically be telling them about how everything that we're being told is a lie, and and they'd say, "How are you doing?" And I'd be like, "Well, in this land of fiction, it's all whatever, but yeah, I haven't been able to do the street activism in the same way, but I've still been having the conversations with people. I've still been talking to people, and everybody around me, they all know. They all know, because I can't be quiet about it.
Right, I love you
That's
all.
when
I've got
you
so
get the
many things going on in
opportunity.
the background. I love you
No
all. I'm
worries,
going to have
right.
to chime out. Cam,
No worries, babe.
Rich, audience, chat room. Mwah. Love you all. I'll catch you next time.
See you later. And then there were 3.
It's always nice when I feel so awesome, because I'm like, oh, I got to be on there with Callum, and I got to be on there with Rox today. I just missed Sarah a little bit, 'cause I had just about every day I have a meltdown by about 9 a.m. This is due to some autistic thing that I still am working out. So, but I'm acknowledging it. It's like usually by 9 o'clock something has happened that is detrimental to my routine. I have a complete meltdown, and when I say complete meltdown, I mean I blow up and I melt down, and then I'm like, okay, now we can start all over again. I do this a lot during the day, yeah, but it's like a first thing in the morning. Yeah, yeah.
Are you right? You have to be careful that it doesn't become like a routine, almost ritual kind of thing. Like, because you're saying, right, I'm gonna. Subconsciously you're thinking, I'm going to freak out. Something's going to freak me out before 9 o'clock at night.
Something's going to piss me off and I'm going to freak out. That's, I'm manifesting it.
So what I think...
Bingo, except for Friday.
This is what...
And then tomorrow you can say, except for Friday. And then Friday comes and you go, hey, wait, it didn't come.
I'm going to do good today.
Maybe Saturday as well.
Friday is my goal day.
You know what I was saying to you about detaching from things, not disassociating yourself, just detaching, like being able to look at a situation but without feeling emotional about it, because you've just shut that off. You cut off your emotional attachment to it, and then look at it, or you see
and then observe.
I mean, for me, it's weird. I sit here and I'll be experiencing it, whatever that it is, like anger or disgust or whatever it is, and I can sort of sit, it's like pop out at myself and look at myself being angry. Look, because I know that it's the egos, it's this collection of egos inside me that's getting angry, or some of them are getting angry, and then when you can do that,
and some of them are not.
There's a different aspect to me that's not angered by this. A different aspect to me that's saying, this isn't this funny, or whatever, But being able to, it's really hard to do it in the moment. It's really, really difficult to do it in the moment. It's much easier to do it afterwards, in retrospect, with hindsight. Look back and say, oh, I think that's the only way I've really been able to do it. I've not been able to take myself out of myself in the moment.
Out of the moment. Yeah. But afterwards, now I am getting better at that. At looking back, so the way I've tried to start taking myself out of it in the moment is I'll try to remember, like, do you remember how ridiculous you looked when you were going off the other morning? Like, I try to keep that in the back of my head, so that it's easier for me to pull myself out. Like, Emma, don't you do that. Do you remember how ridiculous you looked the other day? Like, don't do that. That works sometimes. It doesn't. Sometimes there's that other one that's like, no, fuck that and fuck them. And you're going off and you're going to let them know that you're not taking shit today. Like, Emma, it doesn't have to be that every time.
I
feel like
it's that lead down. If you reverse that, you want to be catching it at that lead up. Because it's so much easier going in.
But non-judgmentally as well, Ems. don't
because your
judge
awareness is
yourself.
following.
Don't say, "Oh, look at how fucking ridiculous you look." To blah, 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 right? That's judging yourself. That's saying, "Oh, you look ridiculous," right? Don't think of it like no. Don't be judgmental about the way that you react.
Because in reality, my feelings are valid. My feelings about the situation are valid. My response is the issue. Clearly,
I mean,
well, then if catching yourself in that moment, you can negate that moment by doing the complete opposite, right?
Of how I normally do.
Anger, hatred, sort of these sort of things is a lack of love. So you feel the void, sort of thing, which is the laughing at it. When you can laugh at it, you feel it's the same emotion. It's the same point at these different amplitudes. So you've got the same amplitude of emotion. They can cancel each other out like that, and you end up in the middle.
Because I have noticed lately, I'll be laughing. I'll be in the middle of an anger moment, and then I'll start laughing.
That's when you've caught yourself in the moment as well, because it's like, I'm just like, what am I doing? That's silly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even said that. I'm like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. I just start laughing at myself and walk off. I'm like, I can't even. I'm getting better at that. So the more I have those moments, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's instantaneous too, because that's just the energy imbalance. Just boom, cancels out, done.
Yeah. I like that.
But leading
up
to it, that's the tricky part, and we can do that in a lot of ways, like physically, because when we go into something, we take on that posture and everything too. So, snapping yourself back into a posture is one of those things that stop us from slowly going into various mind states that we like being in too. That's one of the things why it's so hard to snap out of it, because we like playing along with that. That's where we're supposed to go with the subconscious, with the ego. But the programming is the hard thing. Right. The program is against the ego,
and the ego is only conscious as well. The subconscious is the program. Well, the ego is programmed.
Yeah,
it's subconscious programming that pilots the body like 80% of the time or something.
By thoughts as well. Like, and how do you change the program? I myself, I hear something, I go delete, or that's not me. You actively look. She's frozen.
Oh no, Ems, you froze that brilliant moment. You froze.
Because I was literally having one of those like aha moments, like that little girl that's in that meme where she's like, "But did you see it?"
No,
that's how I felt just now.
But I
just don't know how to explain it. But did you see it?
Yeah, I love
that's
that one,
me every day. And I have those, especially when I'm listening to you guys. I'll be sitting there and I'll like finish a word sometimes. And I'm like, this is why I love them, because I resonate with them. So anytime I'm watching you guys and people come around and like the energy starts to switch up, I jump up, I'll shut off the TV, and I'm like, get out. You see me? I'm busy right now. Don't you even come over here and fuck up my vibe. Get out. Get out. Get out. I will run them out of the room. I'm like, now if you want to come in and you want to be zen and you want to be quiet and you want to listen, come on. I encourage that. But if not, then exit stage left. I ain't even playing.
What a place that you want to maybe well, no, I mean you don't have to. Where I would be with that, if there wasn't any like if there wasn't any avoiding people coming in and interrupting the flow like that, I'd be like, whoa, what's going on here, guys, man? You just completely fuck the energy. What are you doing? What's going on? And ascertain what the problem is, and then say, right, well, take it elsewhere.
Yeah, and if you can't fix it, then move it on.
Move it, but get them to recognize
that they messed it up.
This bad energy in, absolutely, get them to recognize they brought the bad energy in and try and.
Because I think that's part of the problem that we have, like globally, is that we became tolerant and acceptant of this fog of negative energy, where we should have been like, whoa, no. Let's dial that back and like reassert it and then push it back out in the positive way that it's supposed to be.
The
But we
trouble
didn't,
is,
and didn't manifest itself.
but if you take these people separately and you talk to them about what their issues are and what's going on in their life and the background, the backstory, that both of these people who have brought this energy in, they've got shit going on, and probably what's going on between them is absolutely misplaced anger.
Yep.
And you know, it's just or misunderstanding, or like 9 times out of 10, I think that's what it is. It's misunderstanding and misplaced anger, and just people firing badly off each other. They create this bad energy.
And it has nothing to do with the other. Yeah.
But the energy, you know, the energy that we create every time we interact with each other, it doesn't matter what we're doing. Every time we're interacting, we're creating energy. So we're either playing with other energy that we've either adopted or we've allowed into our lives, or we're playing with energy only the energy that we want to play with as alchemists, because we're all alchemists. We all have this potential to make gold out of lead, basically. Maybe not in the materialistic physical form, but definitely in the spiritual philosophical way. So
I totally see. It's one of those things.
Holding your energetic state as well, you know, knowing the difference. Whereas like someone comes in with a very high energy, it's easy, you know, we're used to, you know, going along with it, but holding your energy state when you're aware at that moment, and holding that energy state becomes the thing to do.
Not getting sucked into it.
Yeah, it's the strongest state.
The thing is, as well, it's all about, we'll get back to it again, it's all about balance. It's not because I'm a Libra and I'm obsessed with scales. It's, you know, it's all about balance. It is funny because like my tattoos and everything, they're perfectly balanced. They're not identical, but they are pretty much the same. Like, and my back is the same. I like things to be balanced, man. But this isn't a psychological issue. This is just reality. I think it's just, I've always had this understanding that everything needs to be balanced, otherwise it can't run smoothly. You know, if you take a
that is the common journey amongst everyone too. Everything, everyone.
When you buy a new computer, or just when you buy a computer, they say, where do you put it? You put it on a flat, level, stationary surface that's nice and flat and level, but so that the computer can be balanced and remain stationary. Remain in its position to be able to, you know, as within, so without. All of that, it's reflected in everything that we do. It's reflected in everything that we're shown, everything that you know, it's reflected in everything, man.
I've never heard that. Like, I know that you, like, with scales, with digital scales, I know you're supposed to keep them on a level surface because you want to make sure the calibration stays right. But I did not know that about computers. So
also with a gyroscope as well. So like if you're gonna set a gyroscope, that needs to be
level. Well, that makes sense.
Well, you set it to the surface and it'll stay there. That's the beauty about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, what is it?
So then you can turn it around, but that center gyro spinning wheel will stay.
It's balanced
wherever you set it.
When you do it right, so I don't know what the deal is with newer drones, but with drones like 3, 4, 5 years ago, when you turn the drone on, you had to do these things where you turn it round, you turn it over, you spin it, like, so that the drone can calibrate itself and position itself. The only way you can do that is with a flat, immovable, like a stationary. You have to be on a flat. That's what the only way you can do it. Right?
You have to be on a flat surface.
That.
And so
I'm just belaboring the point that it's about balance. Everything's about balance. Like when you're born, in order to be able to operate, you have to learn to balance. Because if you never learn to balance when you were a toddler, you imagine if you'd never learned to balance when you were a toddler and you tried walking when you're 30. Like,
that's like me trying to walk in heels.
I think our bodies are naturally programmed to find some balance because of equilibrium, because of the basically the gyroscope in our head, in our ears, provided by the level fluid in our ears, isn't it? That's what gives us. That's how we know that our head is tilted, because we can feel it.
We can feel it.
You can feel,
and I can feel when mine is off. When you get an ear infection and you get that, it throws it off.
Down. Like if somebody put a blindfold on your head and turned you upside down, you wouldn't have to be told that you were upside down, because the fucking, apart from the blood rushing to your head, you'd feel it in your ears as well. You know. Saba! Hey, look at that. It looks nice and sunny there.
Oh, I know. I'm so jelly because it's like not. It's gorgeous.
How big this tree? Look at these trees.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
You hear that?
No.
I just had to say hi because I was like, it's so pretty outside.
It is so pretty outside. I'm so jealous. Oh, wait. It looks like the sun is trying to come out over here. Like, look at me. Look at me. I'm like, no, we're already looking at you over there with Sarah. You can't just come out over here and act like you've been out all morning, because you haven't been.
But you've been cheating on me with Sarah over in the West. I see that you took that midnight flight.
Yeah, and you can't come over here with your red eye. I don't want none of that. Mess me with that shit. oh my gosh, that's so funny. So funny, because I'm such a nerd. That's so funny to me on like so many levels.
So I get you, Em. I just wanted to pop
like, you get that. So you got that. The whole red eye thing. I'm a monster.
Oh yeah, I almost had to make a comment about the Mile High Club, but then I thought, that's taking it too far. That's a little too cheese, right?
No, I'm Marb. So I watched What the Flock yesterday, his little bite-sized thing, and he was talking about the word marble, and they're so dead, but they're so. I was like, so instead of saying I'm dying, my word of the week is I'm Marb. I'm so Marb over that. I'm so Marb. So I'm so Marb.
I'm so Marb.
I'm so Marb over the red eye comments. It's so Marb. It's so drab.
JB only tripped up because she knows she's on screen right now. This is my 18-year-old dog, everybody. Look at this girl. She's still moving. She's still moving and a grooving.
18.
It's really good.
18. Yeah. Wow.
And then that one way over there, wandering.
She should go down the Guinness Book of Records.
Right? No, I think there's older dogs, but that one way off in the distance is going to be 13 this fall.
And it's just running like it is nothing.
Yeah, look at her go. She gets a little tripped up. See, there's some weeds that she just had to bramble through, but I let her do it. I let her work it out because I know it works her muscles in the right ways. And I try to project good energy because she is pretty good with the blindness. But I don't think of it that way. I constantly like, I'll just say like a little mantra where I'm like, it kind of goes with the spiritual alchemy, but I was like, I go, see the fence, use the fence. See the fence, use the fence. Because she knocks into the fence, but I like to have her walk around along it. We kind of do this whole walk around this whole school because we use the fence. And it works really well, but there's days where I feel like she can see better than other days too. So I don't really focus on that she's blind. I kind of just treat her like she's not. You know, I don't treat her like she's 18 either.
There's a lot more senses they can tap into when forced to. We tap into the other senses we have.
That's so true, and she's a really good example of that. Her name is Jitterbug for a reason. She's very much aware of other people's energy and emotions. And she's going for a ride over here. You okay, babe? Yeah. See, watch this. Watch when I touch her in a certain spot. she'll immediately, like, she hates it, you know, and she's been like that her whole life. And we used to lay her down and give her belly rubs every night as sort of a way to decompress her, but she is just highly sensitive. So yeah, exactly.
She might have a previous life thing.
Yeah,
I had to go potty. Sorry. No, my Annie is really like that. She's an emotional support dog. I have a little like Maltese, but I have to rub her belly every morning. She's very specific about this. Like every morning she gets into bed, looks for me, like rub my belly, and she won't let me feed her, but I have to walk her. And no, her daddy is the one that walks her. I feed her, and if we switch that up, she won't eat. Like if she sees him pick her food up and put it in the bowl, she will look at him and then look at me and then look back at her bowl like, what the hell did you just do? And if I go to the door and try to like let her out, she'll look at me like, no, and bolt up the stairs looking for him. Like, this is not the way we do things. And you guys are trying to switch it up. And like, how dare you? And I'm like, I have to explain that to him. I'm like, look, you have to let her out in the morning before you leave. I have to feed her. She can't see you touching her food and I can't walk her. She's adamant about this. Like, and we've had her for about 4 years now. Yeah. And she gets like really nervous if like even when I get excited about stuff and I'm talking to you guys, sometimes she'll go upstairs with him because she gets anxious when I get loud. And so she's still adjusting to whether or not I'm upset or whether or not I'm like happy. She's still trying to figure that out.
My dog. Yes, this happens. And I've worked with her so she is better. But when I first started going live, she would go go to her hiding spot. And I always be like, Mom's not angry. This isn't work. What's wrong?
That's what I have to tell Annie. I'm like, look, it's cool. I'm cool. These are my friends, and everything is okay. We're chill. And then she'll just look at me like, okay, well, you're loud. I'm going upstairs.
Lady, come.
When I lived with my ex-girlfriend, Bea, we used to we'd have rows, screaming rows, and I'd lose my voice. Like the amount of times she'd cause a row before my gig. And I'd lose my voice screaming at her, and I'd start off my gig like really, really not being able to sing properly, being like drinking loads of tea with hot lemon and thingy, and my ego would get so triggered. I wasn't able to stop myself from screaming back at her in the end, and I'd be like, there you go, you fucking done it again. You made me lose my fucking voice just before my fucking gig. Again! It's like, anyway.
Hell.
Yeah. And now what's the point of me telling you about this? What was the point of this?
Probably routines and those, because it's those routines that you do as well. Like, this always happens. That always happens every time this occurs. Yeah. Then that occurs. This, then that. So they're really hard to break as well.
Just couldn't stop it either, though, man.
That's funny.
Like every week, like a broken record. Every week, fucking. I did in the end.
Yeah.
I broke it and I stopped it, and I managed to get so that we weren't living together. But I was
really
still going and seeing her. Like, we were still sort of in a relationship for a year or something afterwards, or 6 months or something afterwards. I can't remember, but we were still in a relationship. And then I did actually. I said that we can't even see each other again. This is it. I'm cutting the cords, man. Anyways,
I was going to say something and I forgot now. Something about based on what you said.
It's literally because there's a point, isn't there? You can't keep going like that as well, and we get to those points when we tell ourselves that as well. I can't keep going like this. You know, kind of comes up to that brooding point where it all gets to a point and it's boom. But that's righteous anger or whatnot too. There in that moment. Where it's like now it's
and
changed.
It's
You've made a stand with yourself that goes.
There's your good chaos, right?
Yeah, and then whatever happens too, because then that's a contract you're making with the subconscious, with your ego as well, where you go, no, but this is what's happening, and it's like in that sense, that command or the demand makes more sense. Where it's like you've just commanded yourself. You've commanded yourself.
That's why I like talking about the words. That's what I was going to say, was always and never. That was something that I was very conscious of in arguments. And I would say, I don't feel you should use those words in an argument, because a lot of people will be like, you always undermine me. You always are a bully. Hey, leave it. And
Or you never do this. You never. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's immediately unfair, really, if you think about it, because often that's not the truth. And
and
it's not always a situation.
Catching every point, you have to catch it like that. Right?
And if you say that's the case, then you won't break the cycle. And I think that's the whole point we're getting at, because it's the same thing with me always being like, when I used to say, why me? Why me?
Past a point at that point.
When it's not just you.
Yeah. We're past the point of fixing anything at that level.
Yep.
And when you like, it's also being able to catch yourself when you say, why me? Like that that's a victim mentality. Why me?
Don't beat yourself up. Like, you were saying, it's part of your process. Just say, okay, just immediately go, oh, sweet, I just acknowledge that. And actually, continue the laughing and feel good about that. And you'll continue with that momentum, and you'll find less and less and less. Exactly. You'll find that all of a sudden you're like, oh, I've improved. And I feel good today.
And I'm happy about that. I have noticed that lately, and catching myself and then being like, okay, and acknowledging it. And then the next time that a situation like that has come up, then I'm so much more quicker to be like, whoa, dial it back in and just walk off. And then afterwards, I'm like, all that energy that they literally almost sucked out of me, and then I got it. Screw them.
Yeah.
So I walk up and have those little moments where I'm like,
When I started creating on YouTube back in 2017, 2018, it's annoying because that's all gone when my channel got deleted. But I had loads of videos there in the early days where I was playing Where's Wally, or in American Where's Waldo, but in England it's Wally. Where's Wally? And so I saw my ego as Wally. So every time I realized that I was getting, I go, oh, there's Wally. Like, and then I just start singing to myself, where's Wally? There he is.
There he is.
Right. And then
to be a fly on the wall when Richie's doing that, right?
It would
pacing and leaving him.
It would confuse me, though.
There's so many times I would have catch myself.
I was doing it in the middle of live streams, I'd be like, oh, there's Wally. There he is again, man. Fucking popped out again. And it's like, it's all about, the links into perception. So controlling my perception of what was going on, controlling my perception of myself, controlling my perception of what was happening, just being able to control your perception, because you choose what you allow. You choose what you allow to be in your reality, so like cheeky monkeys. So I realized that the moment I realized that the only power these entities have is that I give them, the only physical power, the only physical power they have in this realm is that I give.
It's when we give it,
because they have to do it through me. It's all through my acceptance. It's a contract. It's a like just saying, oh yeah, you're a demon. Well, if you're a demon, that means in that there's a description attached to that, and that means you're signing up to all of that. So I'm saying, no, you're not a fucking demon. You're a cheeky little monkey. You're a cheeky little monkey. All you're here is to teach me. And you're not. You can't do anything. I've got no reason to be afraid of you. You can't do.
Well, who has the power now? Yeah.
And it's exactly that. It's like not denying them, not even saying go away. So yeah, be there if you want, cheeky little monkeys. You're funny. You amuse me. You keep me on my toes.
I also make no distinction between anything parasitic outside of me and myself as well. In terms of if it's not wanted within my temple. So that's why I delete as well. It doesn't matter who or what. So that's where like psychic attacks and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Do you know when I delete the most? What I delete the most is when I've accidentally put something out. And I actually delete. I say delete, cancel, no, Control Z, Control Z. Sorry,
Control Escape.
I listened to that one, Matrix, because I
self-destruct.
cancel any spell that may have been cast then. You know,
And I'm like, just
that's a really good tactic. I've actually noticed a huge difference in you, Richie.
Because it becomes less and less. You keep doing it, it becomes less and less. Whereas you're not correcting as much because you just don't need to. You've already done all the corrections.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because I was going to say, since I've known Richie, there's been quite a big change. And I've noticed you've deleted every once in a while. I've seen what you've written, but you'll delete it and then you'll say, "I take that back. I'm deleting it because I'm not putting that spell out there." Yeah. And your way of catching yourself is just huge. And I wonder if I think you've probably noticed a change in me, maybe more in the depression side of things, but just, you know.
Do you know, I'll be honest with you, Sarah, you've been you're the same. You're just, you haven't changed, because I think what happened was when you joined the group, it literally deleted your depression.
Yeah, it did.
Or certainly it deleted any necessity of you. You didn't have any we didn't.
Yeah, it did feel like things just like fit into place. Like that's what was so weird about how it all just happened, and then how you and I started working together, and it was like, wow, we do work really well together.
It was a change of focus. I think that's what it was. It gave we've got something to focus on, and focusing on it with somebody else as well is much more
helps
fun.
you stay on track, because I know Sarah and I are both, we have like an ADD thing.
If you've got more than one person,
it's hard.
If you've got more than one person focused on something, though, you know, it's fun.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is that it's not only just like fitting into place, it was also opening up doors for me that I didn't know. And like Callum has said this too for me, but I realize now like how much of a voice I am actually supposed to be, when I always thought I wasn't. And now it's funny because through this group and everything, I've learned now about that I'm a master builder, and that I guess with 33 I'm supposed to be like a master educator. And I was like, holy shit, does that make sense? But this whole time I'm like, okay, healer, and I am, because that is part of an educator. Like I think we're all healers, right? But we're all like, we might have another skill set.
That's why the Magic Treehouse makes so much sense, and you resonate with it, because it's all aspects of your path. It's building and teaching.
At the same time.
Once we build it and they all come, then we're going to be teaching people, teaching other people to teach,
okay.
You know?
That's what's creepy ends, is that Richie and I figured out he's a 1-1 and I'm a 3-3, and we're master builders, and we've been saying this whole time, if you build it, they will come.
Just listen to this, you guys. So I went to visit my parents the other night on my mom's birthday, and as soon as I walk in, my parents, who literally like never watch baseball, are watching some weird thing about baseball. And I walk in, my dad goes, "Have you ever seen Field of Dreams?" And I was like, "If you build it, they will come."
They will come.
And then the next day I get up and you guys are talking about it at Signal, and then you brought it up again, and I was like, okay, what the heck are we, the tree house. That's what we're building in. Yoo-hoo.
Crazy. Every day. Your syncs blow my mind sometimes too.
I know. Then when you guys were talking about Babylon this morning, the funniest thing is, right before I went to bed last night, we were watching something on, I think it was Gaia, and I have this book because like a couple years ago I started getting like these downloads that told me to copy down specific verses out of the Bible and out of specific books. Like I would get these, and so what I do sometimes is I go back over that book, which it looks like this, you guys. it's a mess, because if you look at it, it's got tape all over it. And originally it was like half the size of this in thickness, but because I started adding stuff to, I've had to like rebind it with tape and stuff. But yeah, so I was looking through it last night, and like my favorite thing to do is open it up randomly and see where it opens up to. And we were talking about something that had to do with Babylon, and so I flipped it open just to see, and it went to one of these scriptures that I had been told to copy down, and it has to do with Babylon, and it's from Psalms, and it has to do with these captives. So apparently, at some point, there are these people, and they were taken from where they were originally, and then they were held captive in the city of Babylon, and their captors, apparently, this is just what I interpreted from the scripture myself, and it may be not maybe what it actually meant, but this is what I translated it to mean, was that they had been held captive. Their captors were asking them to sing a song, kind of, and they were singing the song that they knew over in their land. The people that had taken them captive in Babylon didn't want them singing that song, and so then instructed them to sing a totally different song. I'm trying to find that little scripture right now so I can read it, because it's out of it like a Psalm 100 and say, here, let's see, I'm close to it. It was
interesting with the number.
Older Psalms, and then some of the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Romans, but a lot of the later, like the later Psalms, like Psalms 130 and stuff like that. So the older ones are the ones that was originally that was told to like copy down, which I just thought in Isaiah and Jeremiah. Now this is what's really weird. Like, why can't I find this scripture now? It specifically talks about the captives, and I was just talking. Okay, here, is this it, or did the page get ripped out? But it says that in this Psalm it's like 130 something. It says the captives of it's titled the captives of Babylon. Well, you know what? I have the Bible that I copied it out of, so I'll just look it up. That's the one thing I do keep. I have my book, and the Bible, which I thought was really weird. So like growing up in church, I went to a Southern Baptist church, so we used the King James version of the Bible, which, like, if you grow up in a Southern Baptist, that's the only version of the Bible in their eyes, and that's the end all be all. All these other versions they consider disavowed, because basically people have messed with the word, quote unquote, and so it's not the same. And I'm like, well, technically the Bible isn't the word, because it was
it's in English. It's in English, and it was written in Arabic and and Hebrew.
So I'm just confused as to how you don't see that, seeing as how we are reading it in English. It wasn't okay. And I'm like moving right along with my Christian friend. Bless her heart. She is so, and she knows the scripture like the back of her hand, which is one of those things. Like I tell her every day, every time we meet up and we have our little conversations, because she's getting to that point to where like she's more aware of how things are and how they took this and manipulated it. But at the same time, it's like one of those things where I have to, she's going to have, look, I flipped open my Bible right to I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is it. It says it's Psalm 137 and it's verse 3. So it says, for they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. So apparently they were Zionists, and they kidnapped these people and brought them to Babylon, and then we're trying to, I guess, brainwash them into thinking that they were just like them by making them sing these different hymns that were the Zionists, which I just thought was so strange.
Right, because
I thought that was across that.
There were Gnostics. There were Gnostics, and there were Zionists, and there were like Christianity. Christianity existed before Jesus Christ.
Right.
Jesus Christ was a part of it, but Christianity is like it goes back to Gnosticism and the Cathars and all of that, and they've demonized it. So the Cathars, they were doing satanic rituals and sex orgies and all of this stuff. So easy for them to take the truth and twist it into whatever they want to twist it into, because there is something about sex in Gnosticism, about sexual energy, and about not spilling the cup of Hermes, Kundalini, all of that sort of stuff. That's all in Gnosticism, which means that technically that means that if Jesus Christ was a Christian, he was practicing it as well. So, yeah, I mean, they've demonized everything, man. They've demonized anything that is good. They flipped it. Flip reverse.
Rule 180.
No. I'll tell you what, guys. It's 3 hours and 24 minutes we've been going now. And
oh, I bet it's getting later. No, it's not that late over there yet.
I'm almost burnt out though.
It's just one of those things.
We don't want to burn you out because we got to do this more often. We were thinking about trying to go live more every day, actually.
Me and Sarah were talking about it. Said, yeah, we'll just do like a 2 hour, hour and a half, 2 hour show.
Not with us.
3 hours later.
I looked up and it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I was like, man, I don't want to stop yet.
Just go with the.
The thing is, I don't want to stop. But
goes as long as it goes.
My brain is stopping. My brain just wants to vegetate for a bit.
Yeah, so
I'd be absolutely quite happy to sit and vegetate with you people, like with you guys.
But sometimes you just get along.
But where you can get up and go do shit when you need to, right?
Yep.
That day's coming, guys.
And I'm gonna go outside and while the sun is out, because it's now cheating on me or cheating on Sarah with me. So I'm gonna go outside and soak up some of the sun before it goes back over there.
Super good idea.
Being so choosy today.
Much love.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take the dogs out for a walk. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to bed. 2 o'clock in the morning.
In the nights. Good sleepy boys. Sarah, what are you up to? What are you doing now?
Still walking.
Are you still out with the dogs?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I'm all like, yeah, I'm talking. You guys can. I'm back in now. I'm going to make a little more coffee for myself and get maybe some inspirational work done today. You guys want to see some cool more artwork?
You are supposed to be working today, aren't you?
Yeah, that's happened. Don't worry, that happens all the time. It's a 24/7 thing. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. That gross. Yes. Yep.
My work.
Exactly.
Not work. My work.
Yes.
Do my work.
I just want to chat.
And it won't be long before. Yeah. Can't wait.
Gummy Bear APB. Sorry, dude. You've only just joined. We are going to stop. But thank you for joining us, and you can always press replay and watch from the beginning. Dude, have we got Gummy Bears? How do we? Because it'd be good to get you on again, dude. So can you send either me or Sarah an email? The email in the description. Send us an email so we've got your email address, and we can then email you a link, a StreamYard link, so you can be on the next panel. Because we're going to do this a couple of times a week during the week, kind of thing. We'll do our Sunday show or weekend show, but we want to do this. We want to step it up a bit and do more live streams and get more involved with our viewers and that. So just to everybody out there, get in there early before this show explodes, and you're one of those people sat there going, "Oh man, I wish." opportunity back in the day when they were only small and they only had like 600 followers or something. I wish I'd God, now look at 6 billion followers, man.
Oh, gross. No.
Million.
No. Maybe not even that. Just teasing.
Yeah,
It's all good.
Hey, listen, we got 6,000 on Roxanne's.
Yeah.
Channel, so just shout out to Roxanne's channel.
Hey, everyone.
Shout out to everybody in Roxanne's chat room. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, much love. It's been emotional.
It's been always a good one. Thank you.
We're gonna play out a little video. Play out with a little video as always. But thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see you soon. All right. Peace.
In this life in the, what do you think you've learned?
Absolutely nothing. Well, I've tried to learn, but I'll calculate not a lot really. I've learned that you must treat people properly, and that you must proceed in a certain way, and you must try and have a vibe of how to sort of enjoy situations. So I've learned just to, don't get miserable or fight the misery with some intelligence. This is like the most difficult area of the whole malarkey, really. It's hard to turn something around when it's going, and it's not something that you can learn by well, as far as I can see, it's something that comes to you with a bit of luck and a bit of instinct, yeah? But therefore, it's not something you can ever bank on. I'm not smart enough to figure out what the hell it is or how it works at all, That's why I treat it like hoodoo. I do find I still have a talent to cause a bit of, stir up a little bit of confusion, yeah? But I'll do what I can to create as much chaos as I possibly can. But my chaos is always well-natured, or has a positive goal at the end. When I start causing chaos in a situation, it's because the situation really needed to be changed, for example, or something is going to happen that I thought would be a good idea. And 9 times out of 10, I'm on it, I must say. But hopefully, that hasn't unjinxed. That hasn't unjinxed.